What's going on? I am Nando.
And I'm DJ.
And this is Mostly Nitpicking, a podcast where every week we pick apart a piece of pop culture by looking exclusively at the details. Woohoo!
Woohoo!
This week, DJ.
This week.
We're doing something because here's the plan. Here's the idea. We got to peel the curtain back a little bit.
Take it. Peel that curtain. Rip it off. Wizard of Oz.
Oh, my God. Did she rip the curtain off?
No.
Okay, good. That'd be mean.
So, anyway, yeah.
You never know when you're going to need to use that for stuff. Here's the deal. We have a big movie coming out next week. It's Star Wars Episode 9, Rise of the Skywalker. Is it Rise of the Skywalker or Rise of Skywalker?
Rise of Skywalker.
Okay. So, Star Wars Episode 9, Rise of Skywalker. What we had kind of thought to do is maybe with this week we would do a retrospective episode about Episode 8, Star Wars The Last Jedi. And someone pointed out, did you point this out, DJ, or did someone tell you this?
Someone on Twitter pointed it out.
That we had already done an episode that was mostly nitpicking before mostly nitpicking existed on Episode 8 with a friend of the show, Alex Lee, where we pretty much talked it to death. So
yeah, so much.
There's definitely new things we could say about it, but is it completely worth doing an episode on? Maybe not. So we were trying to figure out what else we could do. And we landed on something. You can introduce this one,
sure.
DJ.
So what we're going to do is, we actually have a special guest on today who I'll introduce in a second. But what we're going to do is we're going to – I was making the joke that we're going to do the ESPN First Take thing where we embrace debate, but not really. We're not crazies. Not that they are, but a little bit. But what we're each going to talk about what we think the best Star Wars movie is and why that is. And all three of us picked a different movie, and I think we have some interesting opinions to talk about. So with that, I would like to introduce this week's guest. He's back and better than ever. It's friend of the show, Chris Diggins. Woohoo!
Woohoo! Yeah.
Now, DJ.
Oh, God.
I want to address the issue.
Oh, no.
You know I love mostly nitpicking.
Yeah.
You know that I think this is a quality podcast. But After the Thrones is the greatest podcast of all time.
It is pretty good. I'll give you that.
That's true.
People have been asking us to do a Watchmen version of that, or something like that.
Who watches The Watchmen?
We thought about
that was
this.
my
Yeah,
suggestion.
exactly.
Unfortunately, nobody.
Just
kidding.
It. It's the best show on TV, but it isn't. It's just it wouldn't be as fun. Because it's perfect. It's a perfect show. We just go through every character and go, it's perfect. I wonder what he's up to. Probably the thing you think he's up to, or maybe something you couldn't have guessed. Either way, he's perfect.
Also, I really hope that people got your ESPN reference, DJ, or else my intro was
Yeah,
incomprehensible.
I was about to say, people may have to Google Stephen A. Smith or just assume that Diggins is trying out new characters. Maybe this is just the new character Diggins is.
I mean, it's kind of like a less gravelly Macho Man Randy Savage, kind of.
Yeah.
Same energy, I guess, so you can interpret it as you want. Because also, you landed on a Kanye West line, or like the Kanye West kind of like, this is the greatest thing of all time. So maybe people, I haven't seen Kanye in a while, maybe he's kind of shifted.
He
has more of a Stephen A. Smith energy these days.
Yeah.
Nope.
While he's preaching in cathedrals.
It's more of a Jesus energy is what he's got.
What if Stephen A. Smith, or what if Jesus was like Stephen A. Smith?
Ooh.
All these followers would make a lot of sense, and all this like hate would make a lot of sense too.
That's true.
Know?
He's so polarizing.
Exactly. We read the Bible. I know we read the Bible, but when you read the Bible, Jesus has this really hippie like, oh yes, and don't throw stones and whatever. But what if he was just screaming at all the people?
Direct Bible quote.
Yeah, words of God in red. It's more like capitalization. Like you're supposed to read it as just complete caps. Like you should not do money changing in the temple. Like that's pretty. Listen, that's not what we're talking about today. We're talking about a slightly less on the nose Jesus metaphor here.
Slightly, very slightly.
Yeah, get your Jesus ready, but get the Jesus out of it. Okay, that's a weird way to describe things.
I just like the idea of Jesus being like a sports take guy. I like him. Like, what's your take on this, Jesus? It's like, I don't know. I think Baltimore really might fail to provide a good defense when it comes to playoff time. You know,
the great theological debate.
Yeah.
So Jesus was allegedly a fun guy. You don't think he watched sports or whatever passed for sports back then? I don't know. I wasn't there. Chariot racing, sure.
Yeah, gladiator games and
Yeah.
such. It was the middle of the Roman Empire, DJ.
All right, cool. I bet Jesus went to the matches.
Probably.
Bet he
I
had
don't
some
know.
fun.
I feel like DJ probably had a DJ. Wow. I feel like Jesus probably had a problem with making people fight to the death. I feel like he probably wasn't a fan of that.
All right, well, the kinder ones, the chariot racing or the strongman games or
Or the
whatever.
pod racing, a Star Wars thing. Hey guys, what do you think of Star Wars?
Oh yeah, we're
Andy,
talking
Star
about
Wars.
Star
We're going to
Wars.
talk about Star Wars. We're not talking about Episode 9. If anybody's like, Episode 9, I haven't seen it yet. Don't waste your time. But also,
Don't worry. Nobody's picking that one for the best one ever.
yeah, for sure. Not that
God.
they haven't seen it. I've seen it. I'm not going to mention it. That is the last time I'll talk about it. But so you could talk, like, we're going to talk about most of current Star Wars. We'll touch on The Mandalorian, but not in super detail. Like, not in super detail, but not the stuff that's weeks old. Mostly all the stuff that you can kind of glean from looking at internet memes.
Baby Yoda.
Baby Yoda, Baby Chewbacca, Baby Darth
Baby
Maul.
Chewbacca?
Yeah, have
Baby
you not
Darth
seen
Maul?
the new episodes? Oh, it's Muppet Babies, but Star Wars. And just
How long will it take them to introduce baby other characters now that Baby Yoda is such a hit?
it's funny because Yoda was never the cute one either. So you could take a character that's actually cute, like a Porg, but the baby Porgs look terrifying. But if you took something like, R2D2 and made baby R2D2, then it'd be like the best thing ever, I don't know. Well, you know what? Because they already did Baby Chewbacca in the holiday special with Lumpy, and that looks terrifying.
Oh, that's right.
That's true.
we
You have
talked
to
about
kind of
that.
acknowledge that.
Have you guys brought up how in the middle of the holiday special, there's just an extended sequence of Chewbacca's grandpa jacking it in the middle of the living room?
Oh my god, it's great.
Wow. Gross.
I just got to bring that up.
Yeah.
That's
You didn't
part of
have
the
to.
Star Wars universe.
Oh god.
Um,
Okay. So this podcast is gonna be a lot more free flowing than our other ones. Although I guess you could argue all of our podcasts are really free flowing. But I'm going to do my best to. I'm not really going to moderate, but I'm going to do my best. But I think the way this should go is each of us kind of says what our favorite movie is, give a short thesis to why that is, and then we have like challenge each other. So I don't know if each person should get like 10 minutes, not to just talk, but like So Nando says his favorite movie is this, and then we challenge him on it, then we move on and kind of keep it focused on one movie. I think that would be the best way to do it.
right.
Okay.
I think that's fine. Do you want to? Yeah, we'll do
making
that.
it-
And maybe we'll talk about runner-ups afterwards. Not like runner-ups, but the movies and
Yeah.
stuff that we haven't touched on.
Honorable mentions.
Yeah, and then like complete dishonor and stuff. There's gonna be a lot of that.
I like that. I think that's a good way to go about it.
I'm really making an internal calculation in my head about how much of my 10 minutes I should spend on Chewbacca's grandpa Jack.
No, you don't get 10 minutes. You get like a minute, and then we get the other 9 to challenge you.
Ooh, 10 seconds maybe? Spend 10 full seconds on that part?
There's a lot of good
It's
stuff
whatever
in
you
the
want.
holiday special.
But God, how am I going to bring out the part where B. Arthur is singing a closing song for the canteen to the Cantina song music?
Man, you really are fascinated by the holiday special.
It's so much worse than you think it is.
The best part of it is it's just Wookiees talking mostly, but there's no like information you get from it. It's like it almost, if it was just that, it would be a very experimental, like cool thing almost, because it's like just them roaring at each other and stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure there's no subtitles.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it just assumes we are all Han Solo and we can all understand Wookiee language.
Just
but-
understand the Wookiees.
Yeah,
It's like, wait a minute, you're just saying gibberish.
pretty much.
Huh.
Yeah, it's it's not good, but it's something. The B. Arthur thing is great. The porno thing is great.
Oh my god. I'm still talking about this.
The ending, like Life Day itself as a ritual is amazing. Like, it is the most hippy dippy bullshit. Like, everyone puts on
Coked
robes
out of
and
her
walks
mind,
into
Carrie
the light.
Fisher.
Yeah, yeah,
God.
that too. Oh my god, such a yeah. I think.
Okay.
Do you think we'll ever? So there's a slight reference to that in Mandalorian. Someone says the word Life Day. Do you think it'll ever be referenced more in Star Wars?
No, not even a little bit.
What about you, Diggins?
What was the question?
Do you think there will ever be more than
stunned him into silence.
So in Mandalorian, there is a one line where someone says like something Life Day. Do you think we'll ever get more of a mention in the Star? Do you think they'll ever remake a movie, make some sort of other holiday special, revisit Chewbacca's family? Like, do you ever think we'll get anything like that in the future, or will it really always be struck from canon?
Stricken? I think it's
Stricken?
stricken from
Yeah.
the record.
I think there's eventually going to be a Chewbacca solo something. Maybe it's not a movie. Maybe it's like a TV special or a TV show or something. And like there will be a Wookiee named one of the things from the holiday special, but they won't actually be a relative of Chewbacca.
Interesting.
Okay.
Does Chewbacca...
And then Chewbacca will talk about how he was mentally scarred when he walked in on his Grandpa Jackie in the middle of the living room.
Man, he just won't let this die, will you?
Well, Chewbacca in the holiday special is married to, I think her name is Malaru or something like that, or Malabaka. I know he calls her Mala. That's not canon, right? He's still a single Wookiee in the movies?
It's not clear because there is like those other Wookiees that he has some relationship with in Solo, but
Right.
no one ever talks about it
Yeah, so it's weird.
for no reason.
And like in episode 3, he says bye to Yoda, and like, you know, he's on the planet. You'd assume he has some kind of, I don't know about
Yeah,
family.
he's on
but
a planet, Nando.
Yeah.
Obviously, he has a wife. Everyone
No,
knows if you're
but,
on
like,
a planet, you have to have a wife.
God damn it. Some kind of like relationship.
Yeah, what kind of loser is living on a planet and doesn't have a relationship?
Not necessarily like a sexual relationship, just kind of knows. Never mind. You were like, does he know people? Of course he knows people.
Right,
the
but
question
is
was
he-
specifically, is he married?
Yeah, does he still have
actually?
that wife?
No, he does not have. I mean, I don't know.
Is it unclear?
Oh yeah, I don't.
Do
think we
Wookiees have marriage?
Ooh, what is the Wookiee mating ritual? Is there one at all? Are they monogamous?
Maybe it's
We
that...
need at least 17
Poly-
novels to
Yeah.
explore these
Yeah,
questions.
It's the only way to know.
So
It's the
great.
only way.
It's a great movie. Or it's a great... The holiday special is great.
Yeah, well, I'm
Happy
glad we
Life Day
settled
to
that.
everybody. Oh my god.
Okay. All right. So let's. We're gonna get into this where we talk about the movies. I don't know who I want to go first because I know.
Probably shouldn't be me.
Let me go first. I think I
Okay.
have the most traditional
I think
one.
you have the most vanilla take.
Yes.
I do. I have the vanillaest of takes. Okay, so my movie is Empire. So let me explain why I think Empire is the best Star Wars movie. In terms of just looking at the original trilogy, telling a compelling story where you have a lot of characters with already developed relationships and interesting stakes and a lot of curiosity for the position that the rebellion and Empire is in. I think even though it's part of a larger story, the way that Empire opens and closes is done so well that even, and I think we've said this about Infinity War, that by itself it could be a phenomenal movie. You know, obviously there's a lot of things that in Empire you might need to explain to yourself, but I think the way it kind of bookends itself is done so well, and I think the action in between is also very good. Like, you have some sidebar stuff where, like, they go into the worm, but you get some really cool interactions with Han and Leia, which brings me to my next point. I don't know if anyone's timing me, but I think also the characters are so compelling in this movie. You got Lando, you got Han, you got Yoda, you got R2-D2, you got all these cool, fun characters, and how they interplay with each other. It makes the whole experience enjoyable for the full, 2 hours or however long it is that you're watching it. So that would be my small, short case for why I think Empire is the best in the franchise. It sets out what it wants to do very well, and tells probably the best story out of any of the other Star Wars movies. So, tear me apart, gentlemen. Embrace debate.
I mean, I don't know. My feelings on Empire are it's very good, but I don't like it more than A New Hope.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah, I
Unpack
think A New
that.
Hope is just a better movie, as its own movie. I think Empire does leave you with enough of a cliffhanger that I'm like, this is almost its own full movie, but I don't think it quite is. I don't think. Do you
okay.
think what's Luke's arc in this movie in Empire?
So he starts off with this kind of not unbridled enthusiasm, but he's like, "Oh, I'm ready to go," and then like just shit goes downhill for him, and I think he has to take this like dose of realism that in A New Hope, and I realize that I'm not looking at this in a vacuum, but in A New Hope, it's like, oh man, I had the call to adventure and I did it, and this one was like, yo buddy, life is a lot harder than you think it is. You can't just say like you're a Jedi now and go busting heads up. It's not so simple. So he kind of gets that dose of reality thrown at him via the challenges where like he learns that Darth is his father, and he the embodiment of evil basically is his dad, and he has to come to terms with that. So I think that's a huge arc that he goes through.
But do you think he comes to terms with that, or just do you think he knows that he should come to terms with it?
It's interesting, right? Because at the end of the movie, we get this weird thing where he is like Luke. He's reaching out to the Force. He's like, Father? It's like, Luke, Father. And then, not a lot of words at the end when he's on the ship. He's getting his hand repaired, and he's there with Han and Leia, and it's like, all right, we got to fight the best we can. We got to fight the best fight. So, I mean, that's fair. I don't know if we get a resolution to that.
I don't know that there necessarily needs to be a resolution because it is... There doesn't need to be an overarching resolution in the sense that it is the second movie in a trilogy, and, like... As much as I argue that every movie in a series should be its own thing, that it can stand on its own, and I would agree that Empire largely does, there's still no use in pretending that it's not part of a larger story, and I think it is okay to leave things in such a fashion that you're like, okay, there's clearly more to this story, but the characters have made a journey, etc. And, I'm okay with leaving things here and picking up at a later date.
Right.
However... Yoda isn't an adorable baby, so what do we?
That's true.
What is the deal with Yoda?
In terms of what?
In terms of like what his whole deal is. So is he a jokester or is he not a jokester?
So like, go for it, Diggins.
I mean, considering this is the first we see of Yoda, I mean, I don't think it's fair to hold later depictions of Yoda against him.
Oh, no, I'm not. This is more, I'm just trying to get a complete sense for what Yoda is overall in all of the movies and stuff.
All of the movies are just Empire.
All
I think they're two. All of them?
Starting with what we know about Empire and then kind of moving forward.
Well, it's hard because if you start at Empire, you're at the middle of his story. But
right.
You're at like the end of his story.
Yeah, right. That's true. You're at the end of his story. So do you take him from his arc, like from episode 1 until Empire? Because you could say, oh, well, he's this wise sage, who's the best Jedi, and has a lot of insight and uses the Force very well, mastered it, yada yada yada. But then he goes through this incredible pain and has to go into self-exile. And obviously he could still use the Force in 5, but we don't know what his like relationship with it is. It's not as bad as like Luke in Episode 8 cutting himself off from the Force, but how much is he still practicing Force, magic or whatever? So yeah, I don't know. Like, why is he so goofy in Empire? I don't know. Maybe it's because he's like, I know I'm gonna die soon. Maybe just have some fun with this.
I think that's a very common trope, is to have the like wise old sage character who's also like kind of weird and like seems like they might be a little crazy,
right?
But at the end of the day is still like actually wise and imparts some wisdom. And it's just later on they just dropped the part where he's like kind of weird and funny, and just had the wise part, and it's like, well, this is hard to square now.
Yeah. And then in Last Jedi, he's also kind of goofy, kind of.
Yeah, which I appreciated, personally. But also, if you're going to try to make a consistent timeline of Yoda, if we are saying that maybe his time on Dagobah is what did that to him, I mean, this is him after that, after his death, after he's had those experiences, so it would make more sense for him to act more similarly to how he did right before he died than he did in the prequels.
But isn't Goofy Yoda like an act he's putting on in Empire to like mess with Luke? But then when Luke's like, "You're Master Yoda," he's like, "Yes, I am. Time for backflips or whatever." Like,
you got to get those backflips in.
I don't know, man. Yoda's cool. I like Yoda.
Yoda, everyone loves Yoda. That's my favorite sitcom.
Oh my god, just wait. It's coming to Disney Plus. But it'd be funny because it'd be called Loves Everyone Yoda or something. That'd be pretty funny.
That's
right?
true.
Hilarious
I
stuff.
think
it's sorry, I was just gonna say it's hard for me to argue against you, DJ, because I like Empire Strikes Back a lot.
Yeah, Empire's good.
I agree with most of the things you say. I just don't think it's the best Star Wars movie.
I mean, that's fair. I mean, I guess the nuance would be do you think it's the second best, third best, or like what's keeping it? Well, I guess we'll find out when you talk about what you think the best one is. But I mean, that's fair.
Second best is what I would say. Probably.
Okay,
yes.
yeah.
Really?
And what's funny is I think that your movie is the second best one. So we're just best friends, basically. That's what this comes down to.
Well, I think yours is second best, DJ. I'm pretty sure I think Diggins is like fourth. But
really?
also, I'm not sure if I'm counting mine as a movie. But if I am, then yours is third. Because I really do like New Hope more than Empire. I don't know why. I think it is just the clarity, and it's very focused. I like that all of our characters are in the same place. I hate when characters
split
split
up.
up.
is the only movie that was made without the understanding that there was going to be more of these, and so it had to stand on its own. So there is a certain completeness to it that no other Star Wars movie really has.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's fair to appreciate that.
But
And
I
that's
do like Lando and like some of the newer characters that are introduced in Empire. I mean, I guess it's just Lando, right? Who else do we meet in Empire for the first time?
Boba
Yoda.
Fett.
Yeah, but like not really though.
Palpatine.
Yeah.
Who'd you say?
Palpatine, Yoda.
I guess Palpatine. Oh, sure, yeah, duh. Yeah, Palpatine's not bad. I mean, Palpatine's whatever. It's nothing. He's interesting, but he's not very. I think Lando and Yoda, yeah, are pretty good. And what's his name? The guy who has a head, Lobo. You got Lobot or whatever. Is that his name?
Yeah.
Yeah,
The guy
Lobot.
with
He's
the
great.
head. The thing I like about another thing I like about Empire is it's really Vader's movie to be the villain for.
Mm-hmm.
Like in the first movie, Vader is present and a villain, but the main villain is Grand Moff Tarkin.
Yeah, the best character in any of these movies.
Sure. Yeah, I love his PlayStation era graphics appearance in
God.
Rogue One.
Woohoo!
I like Rogue One, man, but that part, no matter how much I watch it, just makes me angry.
But and then in the sixth one, or in Return of the Jedi, rather, Palpatine is the main villain,
Yeah.
but Empire is the one where Vader gets to be the main bad guy, and I think he really makes the most of that screen time.
I think it's nice because we're going to touch on the sequel trilogy at some point. I think it is nice that we spent, like, Vader and Kylo Ren are not dissimilar as characters. They obviously have differences, but I never got the sense in the first two movies, Force or
The Last Jedi.
Last Jedi, yeah, that Kylo Ren was really the bad guy, kind of. There was always so much like, there's good in you, Kylo Ren. You know? I feel like I liked that for two whole movies, we were like, Vader's bad. He's bad, he's going to kill us, he's bad, he's bad, he's bad. And it isn't until movie 6 that it's like, don't do bad things, maybe you can redeem yourself. Whereas I feel like from the time pretty much second or third scene with him, you're like, he's not as bad as Vader. I don't know.
See, that's something this is something more to bring up later,
Right.
But I have thoughts about that.
I
I
feel
think
like
it's interesting, but it makes me appreciate Empire, how much Vader, because of how they just do a really good job of setting up Vader as such a big threat that when they do that turn at the end of Empire, it's like, okay, this is a pretty big shift. Whereas like if there was a moment like that at the end of Last Jedi, I'd be like, yeah, all right, that sounds about right. That seems like what this guy would do. He's kind of always been on the fence about all this stuff anyway, kind of. But
We already had that reveal
Exactly,
at like the
yeah.
very beginning of Force Awakens.
that's true. He's a little, I don't know. He's fine. But Vader's great.
okay.
Why do you like 5 more than 6? Not that I think that's a crazy question, but do you have a thought? Like, do you have something about 6 that you don't like?
Ewoks for sure. I think that's
Oh.
everyone's answer.
The Ewoks are fine.
Are they though?
Yes.
Actually the Battle of Endor isn't great.
Yeah, I agree.
A lot of what's going on, at least on the ground, you can make arguments about the space part that are actually good, but I think the ground battle is so nonsense. Like even when I saw it as a kid, I'm like, those guys couldn't take on stormtroopers. That doesn't make any sense. So like I don't know if I want to get on Star Wars for like realism, but I did when I was a kid, so it means something. Like there's parts that I'll watch it again where like they bang a couple rocks on a stormtrooper's head and he gets like totally knocked out. I'm like, come on, guys, there's no way.
Counterpoint though, DJ.
Yeah.
Nope. Yup.
Come on.
Nope. Nope. Yup.
Terrible counterpoint.
Counterpoint, DJ.
And like there's not enough time for anyone to and maybe because it's like the third movie by then where anyone's doing anything like really cool. And I think the best part of the movie's in the beginning. The Han rescue part is so good,
Yes,
and
I
then it
agree.
goes downhill from there. And it's hard when the best part of your movie's in the first like half hour.
I really like the Luke Vader part of the climax.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, I think
That's
that's
fair.
interesting. I think that
I would agree that not necessarily the specific contours of the ground battle, but there's too much going on at the end. We're cutting between too many different things.
yes, for sure.
Yeah.
I wish, as much as I love Lando, I wish all the stuff with blowing up the Death Star didn't matter. Like, and we could just do Luke trying to kill Palpatine maybe or something, and the ground battle stuff, like the actual Endor stuff. But the space battle stuff, I feel like it's not better than one, but I think one has a really, really, really good space battle. and by 1 I mean 4. And then
We're gonna be doing this the whole
I
time.
know it sucks.
I thought you meant the
has,
episode 1 space battle where Anakin's just so good.
Oh my god, that
Let's
is
try
so
turning. That's a good trick, or whatever the hell.
yes. Yeah, it's but it's tough because I don't think it does. I think Last Jedi or Return of the Jedi does a lot of things not as good as the movies that preceded it, and it does more of them, but just not enough. Although I do think I think out of the first 3 movies, the Luke Vader lightsaber fight is the best lightsaber fight, right?
Yeah, it's true.
The one in Empire is pretty good, but I don't think it's better than that.
Well, there's an interesting play that at 6 you can be like, oh, well, these are like them at the best of their possible powers, whereas 5, like Luke's kind of hindered still. Vader definitely has the upper hand. This is more of a even playing field, and you get that whole rage, like the whole rage thing from Luke is also kind of interesting. There's a lot going on in 6 where I can see, oh yeah, this is fun to see all of this come to a climax, but I don't think there's any part. Yeah, I just like the parts of 5 better.
Yeah. Do you think every Star Wars movie? I don't know if this is true. Okay. I think 5 starts with Hoth, right? That might be the best.
Yes.
One of the best parts of that movie. I'm sure you could make the case that that's the best part. Seems great.
Yeah, I wouldn't call you crazy.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be like, you're crazy.
Same with Last Jedi. All the stuff on Jabba's barge is terrific. Might be the best part.
You mean
Return of the Jedi?
Oh, God.
He'll
Yes.
not get this right. He won't. He
with
won't.
6. Okay. 7 and 8. What is 8? What's the first scene in 8?
They're running from the planet. They got Poe say
the
your
space
mom
battle.
joke. Yeah.
Is that any good? Does anybody remember that?
That is a good scene.
Okay.
When nobody told me that this was no longer a Last Jedi podcast, so I did rewatch that movie 2 nights ago.
Yeah, we fooled Diggins.
Right. And then
Bamboozled him.
first scene in 7? Is it the one where they're also like...
it's Kylo Ren is like attacking that village.
Yes. So that one I wouldn't say is the best one.
And Finn's all like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
What has come of this world?
All right, 1, 2, and 3. First scene in 1, awful. It's
it's
the
terrible.
Jedi fighting
The
people
trade
in hallways.
negotiations? Oh,
Yep.
my God.
First
Kill
scene
me.
in 2.
It's them arriving to be Amidala's bodyguard.
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Or is it the no? The first thing that happens is that someone assassinates her body double.
Right.
Yes, that's right.
So that sucks. First
And
scene
episode
in 3
3
is a big space battle. That one's pretty good.
No, it's the murder mission.
Murder mission?
No, it's the space battle. They're getting Palpatine back because he's been kidnapped by General Grievous.
I thought they went to kill. I guess space battle. Then they go to kill.
Yeah. 3 starts with "This is
Count
where the fun
Dooku.
begins," right? That's like that line.
Yes, Yeah. That's it.
So I'd say about half the Star Wars movies, their best scene is the first scene. Or you could make the case that the best scene is the first scene. That's interesting.
You certainly could. Yes.
They're good at like really jumping into it. Wait, did we say what the first scene in 4 was? I guess Vader boarding the ship.
Yeah.
That one's fun.
Yeah.
The last scene of Rogue One.
Yeah, what's the first scene of Rogue One?
She's running a.
Krennic and the...
Yeah.
That one's not bad. I like Krennic a lot, and I think he works really well in that scene. Otherwise, it's pretty cliche.
Yeah.
And then, just for kicks, what's the first scene in Solo?
Oh God. He's
it's
a kid
him,
or
like,
running with the kids.
tricking that.
The big slug.
Big worm that he works for. Or
Yep.
whatever.
Yeah.
That's everything, right? First scene in Mandalorian 1. Oh, that's a pretty good one. That's the killing all the guys in the bar and getting, what's his name, the blue dude.
Oh yeah, that was fun. Horatio
Probably
Sands.
not the best scene in that first couple episodes of that series, but I'd say it's a pretty solid scene.
Yeah.
But I think it's easier with with Mandalorian and maybe even Solo, although Solo really, it's just kind of a mess. Where it's one character, that's the character, and we're going to make a scene that shows him off doing his best stuff. Whereas a lot of the other ones are like, we got to make this character look good, this character look cool, and this one looks scary. So I think there's a lot of things Mandalorian does really well that you can't even kind of expect another Star Wars thing to do well because of how little it has to do with them.
Right.
Big fight scene in 5, would you say that's Vader, Luke?
Yeah.
I mean, fight scene?
Like biggest
Yes.
action sequence. Not biggest, but okay, best. Do you think that's better than Hoth?
It depends. Do you want is it one-on-one versus a compilation?
Just which one do you find the most interesting?
I mean, the Hoth scene is so tense the first time you're watching it.
Yeah.
Like Vader's at the gates of the Millennium Falcon. It's amazing he doesn't just force power it down. By the way,
Yeah, well,
not just getting away.
That Vader, he can't remember what powers he has at what point.
Yeah, it's true. It's very fluid.
I mean, at that point, lifting an X-wing with the Force was considered like incredibly impressive. So
It's true.
Yeah.
How could he do the Falcon?
He's a Mary Sue. That's what I say. They're all Mary Sues. If you can lift an X-wing, you're a Mary Sue or a Mary Todd or Todd Sue or whatever. What's it called? Gary Stew? I don't know. It's a dumb term.
We're all just playing Calvaball here.
It's PC gone mad, Diggins, and I'll have nothing about it. Not in my not my Star Wars or Ghostbusters.
Moving on.
Yeah.
All right, so I think that's good for 5.
Is there anything else about 5? Hold on. I like 5 is an important one. I want to kind of make sure we don't miss anything from 5. Your favorite line
about
from
Boba
5?
Fett. Why is he
Yoda
so
line?
popular? Do I have a favorite line from 5?
It's got a lot of good stuff.
Well, it's because the one that comes out of it is "I love you, I know." That's the one that.
And I am your
or
father.
I am your father. Yeah, it's those.
And you've
two
also
are
got
the-
everything Lando says. Oh, you're
true.
a heavenly body. You belong in the clouds with Cloud City. Like he's pretty great.
His charisma.
You got a lot of nerve coming back here.
Yes.
That was already
that I
Zap
don't alter the
Brannigan.
deal further. That's that one.
Diggins, your Lando
This
was
deal's
Zap
getting
Brannigan.
worse all the time.
I'm sure people say other things. They smell worse on the inside. That's this one.
Yeah,
This is the one where Vader chokes the guy out on the TV, I think.
it is because
Yeah,
then he
love
promotes
that.
the other guy who wished he didn't get promoted.
Yeah. Dude, have you read any of the new Star? I think I've talked about on the show, but Vader Down. Not Vader Down. Sorry, Vader Down's great too. Vader Dark Visions is a new Marvel Star Wars comic run, and it's just like one shots of Darth Vader. And the second episode might be my top 10 single issue comics for me of the year, where it's just a guy who has a single job that is going to be really hard to do, and in any other situation he would quit or be like, all right, let's go back to the drawing board. But Vader has just choked out his boss and made him the boss, and he will not let the plan fail because he knows Vader will choke him. So he goes crazy, and it's so funny. The comic does a great job of pretty much turning this guy into Jim Carrey from The Mask, just eyes bulging out of his head, like we have to drive the starship into this tiny hole, otherwise I'll get choked. It's so funny. It's an awful leadership strategy, obviously.
It really is. Puts too much pressure on your guys.
It's all, and he always chokes him out in front of the rest of them, right? It's not like he's like,
yeah,
I'll choke you out, and then he leaves him. He gives him some image, but it's like
Or he,
failure, man. It's not.
Takes the guy into a back room and then comes back later and is like, yeah, he's gone.
Yeah. And then you think about it, but you're like, maybe it's not going to kill me. Or it doesn't even give you time to beg for your life, and be like, no, Vader, listen, it's specifically not my fault. It's a consequence of, the situation. He just chokes you immediately.
following them into an asteroid belt is a legitimately dumb idea.
Yes!
We can't do it.
I don't know what Vader wants from some of these people, besides just to choke people.
Results, Nando. He wants results.
He does want results. And he got him. He
That's
died.
That's why.
That was the result.
That's why the prequels revealed that he's just a moody teenager.
Yeah.
Because that's what he's always been. When
That's a
you
good
think
point.
about it.
He's pretty. I like when people complain about Luke being moody and stuff. It's really the Star Wars movies are really moody.
Well, yeah, they're very melodramatic.
Yeah, it's not surprising that. I don't think it's surprising that when they decided again to make because at least Anakin for the first couple movies in the prequels is a protagonist. He's just kind of there, or at least you could also say Obi-Wan's protagonist. But when they decided to make the villain from the start super moody in 7, I didn't love it, but also it's like, yeah, well, what are you gonna do? This is Star Wars. Everybody's got to be super moody, and I think that's why people didn't like Rey, is because she wasn't super moody. It didn't
People
fit
not
into
like
the Star
Rey?
Wars
Is that a
box.
thing?
You want a
Some
Star Wars
people
character
did.
that whines all the time, complains. But hey, what do I
Okay.
know? I'm just a Mary Sue or a PC Mary gone mad.
Yeah, that's what they call them.
Yep. Hashtag canceled.
All right, so I think that's a pretty good wrap up of episode 5, and from there, I'd like to move into what will probably be a 2.5 hour long conversation. To Diggins. Diggins, would you like to go over what your best Star Wars movie ever is?
Absolutely, DJ. And it's the correct answer, actually, surprisingly enough.
Oh God.
For you see, the greatest Star Wars movie ever made, an opinion I formed immediately after seeing it and have never let go, is The Last Jedi.
What? Speaking of Mary Sue PC gone mad, oh my God, Diggins. When you saw it,
Well, yeah, I the movie ended, and I turned to my friend and was like, I think that's the best Star Wars movie ever made.
and then your friend said, Hold on a second. Solo comes out in 7 months. Are you willing to regret or like completely give up on that if you love Solo?
I mentioned this before the podcast, but I need to state this for the record for everyone to hear now. On the way to see Solo with two of my friends, one of my friends turned to the two of us and was like, "I hope Darth Maul is in this movie." And we were both like, "You're insane. Why would you ever think that?" And when he showed up, I almost walked out of the theater. I was so mad.
Because it's the end.
Are you sure he wasn't trolling you? Like, he saw something and then, like, got you guys?
No, he had not, because he was as shocked as we were.
I don't. That seems improbable.
Yeah.
Anyway, Last Jedi. So I do genuinely believe The Last Jedi is the greatest Star Wars movie ever made, because there is something about the way it takes what a Star Wars movie is and what we think a Star Wars movie should be and plays with those expectations, flips so many of them on their head, and then at the end of the day gets down to the core ethos of what Star Wars really is just absolutely incredible construction to me. It is, because at the end of the day, Star Wars is about, it's not about destiny or about magic powers or space wizards. What Star Wars was always about deep down was about the power that people can have to change the universe through acceptance, love, hope, all of these things. And yes, that's corny as hell, because Star Wars is a genre B movie. And so it's very melodramatic, as we said, and it's gonna have something like that. But that is the core of what Star Wars is. The core of what Star Wars is Luke deciding that he is not going to fight his father, but instead accept what is about to happen. About him realizing that violence is the wrong path. And The Last Jedi just so perfectly embodies that ethos, while at the same time completely flipping things on their head. Like you were saying before about Kylo Ren, from the start, we know that he's a moody and tortured guy and not just like the big bad villain. But I think that's one of the best choices of this new trilogy, because it makes him, while similar to Darth Vader, different in an interesting way, where what we are seeing in him, what we want from him is for him to turn, for him to become the good guy like we know Vader has, because we are expecting him to fill that role. So Last Jedi takes those expectations, it builds on them, it makes it genuinely seem like it's something that's going to happen. And then it instead says, no, this guy believes the twist Snoke has been whispering to him. He believes them, and he's not just going to change just because he's connected with Rey now. Instead, he's going to take his own warped view on what their connection means. And at the end of the day, not everyone is going to be able to be saved in the way that Vader was, and you need to still stand up to them. And I love that turn so much. I literally in the theater we're full spoilers, right? Like no one.
God, yeah.
When Snoke was killed, I was like in the theater, like, excuse me? What's happening? Because it was so different from what you think that movie is going to be. And yet, it was a perfect decision. What was important about Snoke? What did we need Snoke for? He was a cipher. He didn't matter to the core of what that story had been up until that point. What mattered was Kylo Ren and his arc and his connection with Rey, and melting it down to that pure, just like getting to the heart of that conflict and getting rid of the things that we don't need is just, it's such good, tight storytelling. And I love the way it can surprise us while at the same time embracing what it is that makes Star Wars so good. And that's why I think The Last Jedi is the best Star Wars movie.
Okay, I want to challenge you, Diggins. Even though I agree with a lot.
I'll challenge you too, but DJ, you take him first.
All right, so I want to say I agree with a lot of what you said. This is just stuff that I've heard or encountered or whatever in my goings on. Is it good that it's just at times it seems like it's subverting expectations just for the sake of
I don't
subverting
think it's
expectations.
doing that, though. I think it does them purposefully at all times.
Okay.
Like, well, can you give me an example of one that you think is just for the sake of it, and then I can say why I think it's purposeful?
All right, fair enough. Okay, the stuff with Admiral Hoda when they're just like Holdo, whatever.
Kathleen
Hoda.
Yeah. That's an easy way to remember. Which one's getting drunk on the Death Star at 10 in the morning, and which one's flying into whatever or something. I already forgot what happens in that movie. No, I remember. No, you know what? I remember. Yeah.
It just seems like that she's being mean to Poe Dameron just for the sake of being mean to Poe Dameron. It's like, oh yeah, this character is just gonna go for the whole it's just not telling things to do the surprise at the end where it's like, I had a plan this whole time.
So that one is about understanding a different perspective, because the movie very much is investing you in Poe's perspective, in which it does seem like that. But then at the end, when you realize, or, when the twist comes and you realize Holdo had a legitimate plan the whole time and wasn't just recklessly getting people killed, it's like, it's about getting to that point of like, where you then start thinking about things from Holdo's perspective. And Poe is a dude who just got demoted and got a bunch of people killed for basically no gain whatsoever, because he's impulsive and he's headstrong and he wants to go out and fight. And it's not necessarily, and this is a plan that relies on secrecy, that relies on the Empire not knowing what they're going to be doing, or the First Order, whatever. It's the Empire. Come on, guys. Come on.
Yeah, the Empire.
And so it makes perfect sense from her perspective that you wouldn't want to go blabbing about this plan to random dude who seems like he might go off half-cocked. Even later, when he starts flipping out, like, why would you exactly explain your top secret military plan to a man who's flipping out and calling you a traitor? I can't think of a good reason why I would do that.
But her plan is to act like a traitor. Like, it's not like her plan is like, I don't know. It doesn't seem like it seems like she shouldn't trust him to lead the mission because she thinks he's a hothead. But it does seem like she should at least trust him enough because Leia trusts him to let him in on the mission, because her mission seems like it. Like, does she? Here's a question I've never really kind of thought through. Does Holdo realize how shady her plan seems?
Does her plan seem shady?
Poe thinks it
why
is.
Should she credit Poe's viewpoint?
And there's an argument that when you have all of the information, it might be hard to see that other perspective, but it's okay. When you're in that kind of leadership role, right, and I'm talking just in military terms, not like in a business, right? But like when you're making those military decisions, people's lives are on the line. You have to be so confident in your decision, right? And then there's parts of it where it's like, look, we got to do it this way for efficiency, blah, blah, blah. I more agree with Diggins' argument that I don't think she should have told him because he was acting so crazy. But I do think, like, in terms of looking shady, I think it's just that you're the commander, you have the most information, you have to do what you think is best based on your experience.
It just
feels, which comes to bear.
It just feels contrived. I don't know. That might be not like my big problem with it, but like one of the things that I have trouble with is it seems like conflict for conflict's sake, because I don't think Poe learns all that much from it, and I don't think it really goes anywhere.
I would say Poe learns a lot from that experience.
Yeah, at the end of the movie, when Luke's doing his thing, it's like, oh, they're doing this to get us time to get out of here.
Well, I
don't know if that's him like
it's
putting
not
away
just that.
his
It's
hubris
also him
for the
realizing,
full fight.
The most like daring action-based plan is maybe not always the best thing, and you have to be thinking strategically and in the long term, because it can be emotionally satisfying to like bloody the nose of the First Order. That doesn't mean it's going to be the best thing for every situation.
We got a contemplative from Nando.
I had to think that one through.
So okay, I was going to say we could come back to it if you want.
Okay.
So I have another. I dig it. Again, I'm just challenging you from the internet. Whatever. What about the complaints that this movie is just poorly thought out in a lot of places. So, i.e., Finn thinking his ship can beat up the super laser. A lot of the casino planet stuff with them, like, oh, we're just gonna topple the military-industrial complex. Stuff like that.
Wait, we're just gonna No, I don't think anyone said that.
Well, no, that's Rose's whole thing is like, we're gonna make a mess of this place because these people are bad.
Well, it's really just like, oh, it's emotionally satisfying that we ruin these guys' nights because these guys suck. Not like, yeah,
okay,
we struck a blow for freedom.
All right, well, you know what I mean.
I genuinely don't.
Oh, okay. Okay, what about all right? Do you buy into the fact that some of these people? Well, okay, how's this? What about the Finn thing with the super laser?
What about it?
Because isn't it kind of crazy that he's like, I'm just gonna fly in and I'm gonna stop this thing?
Well, he's in a mode where he has finally chosen to commit himself to the resistance, where he feels this righteous fury about the First Order that everyone else around him has been feeling, and he hasn't really been bought into. And so, like Poe earlier in the movie, he is kind of in this hot-headed, like, do the emotionally satisfying thing of bloodying their nose. And, of course, we have a truncated version of that arc with him and Rose because we already went through it with Poe. We don't need to do a whole elaborate thing of it again. But I think it makes sense in terms of where his character's at.
His idea is legitimately dumb to fly his tiny ship into a super laser.
One could argue that Poe's ideas were legitimately dumb, but
yeah, one could argue that Holdo's idea is legitimately dumb. It just worked. Like,
I mean, no.
It's crazy that because I don't love this Finn thing because I think it's constructed in a pretty awkward way. But I do think the lesson of Holdo and then that transferring to Finn, it really seems like a 1-to-1. The only difference is Holdo's thing worked and Finn's may have or may not have worked. Because I think Holdo's plan seems as unreasonable as Finn's would have, except her plan worked.
Well, but
I mean,
also,
fair.
like, Holdo was already on a mission where the plan was for her to die.
But isn't that what their plan was, too? They weren't trying to kill the AT-ATs. They were just trying to distract them. So, like, that feels like a suicide mission no matter what.
Well,
yeah, a lot of these people are in suicide missions in this.
Their plan wasn't to distract it. Their plan was to blow up the cannon, and then they realized, oh, we can't really do that, so fall back.
Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what, because they had the door down to buy time, and then that's why they bring in the super laser, and then it's like, oh, that super laser will fuck us. We gotta stop it. Stop the super laser.
So how did they plan to do that without crashing someone into it?
They had
their ships don't have guns, do they?
They had guns.
Oh.
Yeah.
But Finn was like, we got to fire straight down the middle, so they needed to aim really carefully. But
and he was like,
by the time they were getting close enough, it was basically too late. So they were like, we can't do it. And Finn's guns, because the cannon is already on, get like melted and broken.
That's
so
right.
that's
I
why
remember
he
the guns
fire.
getting melted.
Yeah, I mean, I think I always took that as, so the one thing about this movie, people are like, oh, they do a lot of dumb things. My thing is, like, I don't think that people always make smart decisions. Like, I think Finn made a legitimately bad decision, but that's okay.
Yeah.
People do that sometimes.
I would also agree with that.
So that was always my take away from that.
I disagree.
Okay.
I don't think he made a bad decision. I think the movie isn't sure. I don't think the movie takes a stance on how that decision, like what that decision means, because the movie doesn't know. There's no guarantee that it's not going to work, right? Like,
right, correct.
People say that, but they don't know. Nobody knows. The same way that I wouldn't mind if it wasn't for the Holdo thing.
Is that really what bothers you the most?
Just the idea that like a sacrifice play that doesn't seem reasonable is deemed silly after someone does a sacrifice play that doesn't seem reasonable.
Well, the thing is, I think a lot of it also comes down to the mindset of why you're doing it. I mean, from what we can see from him, Finn is very much in a place of like anger and coming at this from a place of being like, come on, I gotta do this. I gotta take him down. Whereas Holdo's sacrifice comes from a place of these people are dying, and if I don't do something, then like we're fucked.
Yeah.
So
it's like last resort shit.
It's about where you're coming at it from, I think, is where the movie is drawing that distinction. And also the movie definitely also draws a distinction between older generations making a sacrifice and passing the torch versus newer generations kind of throwing their lives away, which it doesn't ever explicitly get into, but it's definitely a minor theme going on. Because all the good sacrifices, quote unquote, in the movie are done by older characters.
Yeah, and I actually would say there's a weird dissonance there where Holdo's sacrifice is seen as so brave and so great, and oh my god, she did that for us, she's so great. But Finn's sacrifices, Rose is like, no, we have to win with love. And like, well, someone tell Holdo, oh wait, you can't, she's dead. So like, there's a weird kind of inconsistency there.
Well, but that's the thing. It's like Holdo's sacrifice was about saving people.
But so was Finn's.
Finn's is... One could make that argument, but that's why I'm saying why it's about the mindset. It's like, that's not where Finn's head was at when he was doing it.
Sure, okay.
I guess. That seems like a pretty big stretch. In terms of, not necessarily stretch, deciding that that's like the ultimate lesson of the movie, I think is kind of, not like grasping, but it does seem kind of like, I guess this is what the best version of this movie would be, but I don't think the movie makes that decision.
I think this is the best version of what comes out. Honestly, I do think this is a great movie. I'm just doing devil's advocate stuff.
I mean,
but yeah, no, go ahead.
I think the finale's kind of messy. I think it's crazy that she kisses him while the wall is exploding behind her.
Yeah, it's a passionate moment. You might die.
All the friends are dead, as far as they know.
People like to be like, that kiss doesn't make any sense, and then cite the fact that Finn is like what just happened to it as evidence that it doesn't make sense, even though that means the movie is aware that it's a weird thing that happened.
I don't know. I think the movie frames it passionately though. Like it. I mean, it's not framed with sad music and like with Finn like being worried. The movie's like, look at this beautiful kiss.
But then we linger on Finn's face, who's got this expression like, huh. So, like, I don't think the movie is meant... I don't think the movie is meaning for us to be like, that's the big romantic moment.
Yeah, I'd agree with Diggins there.
Really?
Because I didn't think there was anything between... I think that Rose liked Finn, but I didn't think it was reciprocal.
I don't think the movie made up its mind. I think if there was a lot of chemistry and she was popular, I think they would have been together in 9.
I think it deliberately left that question open for 9.
Yeah.
But I don't think... it did it in a way where it like committed and then they backed down. I think it did it in a way where it was like, here is a development that we don't need to resolve now because these characters have already had their own arc in this movie, and we'll see where it goes in the next movie, which I think is a totally fine thing for the second movie in a trilogy to do.
Yeah, fair.
Kind of. This is part of my like, this doesn't feel like a full movie kind of thing. Or like I don't know.
I think that this movie is as full of a movie as Empire is.
I would agree with that.
And I don't know how fair it is to compare this movie to Empire, but it feels impossible not to. Like, this movie is closer to Empire than Clone Wars is to Empire.
You mean Attack of the Clones? Oh, God.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I mean, we're going to get to
the Clone Wars movie. Have any of you guys seen it?
I have not, no.
Me neither.
With Baby Jabba the Hutt?
Oh, is that what's in it?
Oh, years before.
Is that really a thing?
Years before Baby Yoda, we had Baby Jabba the Hutt.
Took them a couple of tries to figure out who they should babyify.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although you think Jabba the Hutt would work, like a little cute, like squishy, like worm guy.
It's
like,
probably cute.
Working. Yeah.
Listen,
I'm not like shocked by it. Like,
I don't know if I would throw my Mandalorian career away to protect it, but if it was around, I might feed it.
So, all right, I got a question for Nando.
Yeah.
What is your greatest defense of this movie?
Defense of this movie?
Oh, yeah.
The bad one I hate? No, just kidding. It's fine. Wait, I didn't get to challenge Diggins on what I really do feel like is the biggest failing of The Last Jedi.
Do that, and then I want to hear your defense of it.
Diggins.
Yes.
I was going to make a joke, but now I'm not even going to bother.
Well, was it about where that
I keep making about PC Gone Mad. I didn't come up with anything new. It's fine. My big problem, though.
I thought your big problem was going to be that scene where Chewbacca's grandpa jacks off in the living room.
Oh, damn it. Missed opportunity.
It's not about killing what we hate. It's about jacking what we love.
Jacking off big furry monsters in the middle of the living room.
If that's what they're going to do, go for it. All the porn is, and to people who haven't seen it, okay, so this is like the holiday special, not the Last Jedi. Chewbacca's dad gets like a VR headset delivered or something. Then he gets instructions on it, and then he puts it on, and it's this woman, human woman, just going like, hey, I want to give you pleasure. And then she just dances around for a little bit. It's super weird. But also, to be fair, I guarantee you that is the first thing a lot of people did when they got their actual VR headset. Something to that effect, like dipping your toe in it before you go full Chewbacca dad. Or
you are leaving out the part where we cut back to him with the headset on, and he's like going wild,
yeah, that's true.
Shaking back and forth. It's weird.
It's pretty good. Okay, biggest problem with Last Jedi. I really do think this is a problem.
Okay.
I think it screws up all the villains. I think it cuts off any opportunity for an interesting villain in 9. I think it turns Kylo Ren. I think it does not create a Kylo Ren in my mind at the end of this movie that is reserved or that is dangerous. Makes Hux look like a joke, and it kills Snoke, who, while you don't need to have a cool overarching Emperor villain, if you want to have a conflicted Kylo Ren villain, that one helps to keep the stakes going. I think
I could not disagree more.
What'd you say?
I could not disagree more.
Well, who's the problem of 9 then, or what are we worried about in 9?
Kylo Ren.
He's a like inflicted mess. He's
yeah,
not
but
like
the point of Last Jedi is like getting us to a point of Kylo Ren is a conflicted mess, but in many ways he has made his choice, and we have to resolve to, even if we think there might be a possibility of him being saved, like we have to resolve to, we have to stop this guy. I mean, maybe the key of the whole thing is at the end we get one last like moment of connection between Rey and Kylo, and Rey closes the door on him. She's like, "No, man, it's over."
But I guess at the end of that movie, there is no part of me that believes he is truly bad. There's not a millisecond.
Really?
This movie is nothing but him half making decisions and being like, "Oh, maybe I'll kill my mom. Maybe I don't. Maybe I'll do this. Maybe I won't." Like, he wants to kill Luke, which I think is super like what's the word? Like deserved from his point of view, or like the Luke and his relationship is really weird. Obviously, like that's kind of the point of it. But when you get to the characters he cares about, he doesn't kill Rey. They work together. Like it's just, I feel like if at the end of 5, Luke was like, "There's good in you, Father, and I can feel it," that would really flatten 6 for me. And the fact that this movie is nothing but everybody going like, "Kylo Ren, you're actually not so bad," and with Snoke being like, "Kylo Ren, you're a big loser." I just feel like this movie, I feel like The Last Jedi, it does a lot of things interestingly, but as far as the second movie in a trilogy, I really hate where it leaves all the villains.
See, but
interesting.
But that's what I think is interesting about Kylo Ren, is that he can be this conflicted person who maybe doesn't always want to do the most evil thing, but at the end of the day, he's still choosing to be the bad guy here. He is still doing things that need to be stopped. So even if
like reluctantly,
but he's still doing them.
Clearly not.
That's the point.
But then it's like, well, what's going to happen in 6 when he meets some real resistance from heroes who know what they're doing? He's gonna give up. Not that I'm saying that's what happens in 9 or whatever, but just this is my thought leaving the theater is. I
felt I left it being like he's more resolved than ever, that he is just going to continue on this path.
I don't know. I feel like he's very. I think this, because I mean it's a Star Wars movie, right? Like, kind of, because his arc is so similar to Vader's.
But that's
like, you knew leaving the theater he's not gonna be completely bad. There's gonna be some sort of redemption for him, right? Like,
but see,
did you not believe that?
That's what I think is so good about this movie. It left me in a place of legitimate doubt where I could.
See, it did not. Not for me.
I could be like, okay, he clearly has conflict, but I don't know if that means he's gonna turn or not, because this movie has played with that expectation in such a way, and then like hard established, like, no, like just because there's conflict in him doesn't mean he's gonna choose to do the right thing. And like leaving it in that place makes me think like, wow, there's a legit. Well, I don't think that's going to happen because J.J. Abrams is making this movie and blah, 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 blah. But in a perfect world where I felt like every movie was going to be written as well as possible, I would be feeling like there's a genuine possibility this guy isn't gonna turn, and that it's gonna be sad and tragic, but it's gonna end up being what has to be done.
Yeah, see, like, I don't know. I never bought that. It's not that I never bought him, but I think in Force Awakens, there was a sense that you had Hux, who wasn't great, but he was he was there. He was another force. He was extreme, and maybe him and Kylo Ren could bump heads and whatever. And then this movie turns Hux into a big joke. Then you got Snoke, who is mysterious enough that, like, it seems like, and this is the other thing, it seems like with Snoke and Kylo is, especially in the beginning of the movie, only doing bad things, not only doing bad things because of Snoke, but very much being led, like, because of Snoke, right? Like, Snoke's, like, goading him on, like, you're not even good. Go do the thing I want you to do. So with that influence gone, but he didn't kill Snoke because he wanted to be extra bad or something, not like a normal Sith. He killed Snoke because he didn't like him, and because he knew Snoke was bad and he wanted to get together with Rey. I don't know, DJ, did you leaving this theater?
I think it was more. I mean, yeah, he wanted to save Rey's life, but I think it was more like, I'd rather be in charge. Fuck this guy.
I half think that. Well, okay, not that he would want to be in charge. I think he wanted to be in charge, but not of the bad guys. I think he just wanted to be in charge. Because that's what he says to Rey. He's like, let's do our own thing and let's go, you know. I don't think he's, at that point, he's dug into being the evil leader of the bad guys. I mean,
he was absolutely being, because he wasn't going to call off the ships blowing up the Resistance. He was like, yeah, just join me. We're going to lead all this, and, you know, we'll remake the galaxy as we want. It's basically his version of the rule the galaxy as father and son pitch.
I don't know.
I agree with that.
Well, do you think Kylo Ren is a threatening villain going into 9?
I think so.
Really?
Because because he has the whole backing of the First Order behind him, and he's just so singular-minded, like, I must kill the fucking Resistance. It might not make a lot of sense because it's a dozen guys, but for that, like...
Yeah, well, we can get into the whole thing of scale in this movie, which is totally fucked, but...
But not even that, but the idea of, like, all right, hero-villain, like, yeah, he in theory or on paper outmatches these guys, but the conflict is that he can't seem to kill them.
Well, yeah, so, that's the other problem. I think the First Order sucks.
Okay, that's different.
Well, but
I think that's
Kylo
a different
Ren
conversation
doesn't work for
from,
me,
like,
and neither does the First Order. Then what am I there for? Like, as a threatening villain.
Because I do think Kylo Ren is that. I would almost argue that Kylo Ren's, like, held back by the First Order, and I legit think that.
I mean, Kylo Ren he's so
very fair,
emotionally unstable. It's like, it's totally easy to imagine him, like, going into a rage and, like, killing someone, even as conflicted as he feels.
I see. I don't know.
Like, if I were to make a crappy D&D comparison, and Diggins, I don't know if this aligns with a lot what you were saying. I think it might not, actually. But if Darth Vader is, like, the lawful evil, methodical, like, oh man, I kill people because I'm upset with their performance, and, you know, I want to rule with an iron fist, but I'm very methodical. Whereas Kylo Ren's like, I'm having a bad day, fuck you, guy. I think that might be the big difference. Although neither is good. Like, Darth Vader killing his subordinates because they do a bad job is, like, really shitty. It's not like his is a lot better than Kylo Ren's.
Kylo Ren just scratches his computer. Like, he whines, and he's just, I don't know, maybe it's me being not like an adult, but like being a kid and watching the originals versus this one. All the bad guys just feel like a downgrade.
To be fair, Darth Vader also whines. It's just James Earl Jones doing the whining, so it sounds less whining. But he's like, I want them found now. Like, that's whining.
People. Yeah, but I just like that he's not just, like, cool evil guy Vader clone. I like that he's kind of his own character with his own stuff going on.
I just wish there were more resolve. I wish there was more of I wish I knew if he got into a room with Rey, he would kill her. And I'd never get that sense.
But I don't think that he needs that, though. I think Diggins is right. When he does the join me in the dark side pitch, like, he's in control for most of that.
Well, I mean post 8, end of 8, like, so 8 going into 9. I wish there was a sense, like,
I did feel that sense that, like, maybe he would try to recruit her one last time, but, like, if she was saying no, I felt like he would kill her.
Yeah, he'd mess her up, yeah, or at least try to.
It.
All right.
I don't.
All right, well, I think we might be at a stalemate on this topic.
I think we will too, and you
have to give your defense of this movie now.
Wait, there was one more thing I wanted to ask.
Okay. Ask away. He really doesn't want to give us defense, Diggins. He wants to do anything but.
No. There was something else. What was it?
You really like the shot of Adam Driver without the shirt on.
Yeah.
And when he had the
high-waisted pants. Oh my god.
You
Apparently
loved
he does
it
that
so
in
much.
everything. I've been talking to people who are like saying in girls he does that a lot too.
Maybe he just has a high waist.
Yeah,
But,
yeah.
I mean, he
true.
takes
I
off
have a
his
high
shirt.
waist.
Like,
It
why
happens.
take off your shirt all the time? But I
He
guess
likes it.
Got to
I
show
don't
off
know.
that
I never
six-pack.
watched Girls. He does it in Marriage Story. Did you watch Marriage Story?
I haven't yet.
Not
I need
yet.
to.
At one point, he gets a haircut with his shirt off, and it's like, God damn it, this again. It feels relatively desperate.
Did you think
okay.
of your point? Okay.
How about this? So I've heard this argument going around on the internet recently, and I think it's kind of valid. Do you feel like Last Jedi is trying to set up a relationship between Rey, Finn, and Poe the same way that the first three were doing Luke, Han, and Leia? Do you think that's an attempt? Like, that's something deliberate?
I felt like Force Awakens was. I don't feel like this movie really is.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
So that's my problem then. One of the things I don't like about Last Jedi that maybe will also be a humongous problem in the next one is I just never felt like there was any cohesion movie to movie. And that really bugged me. I wish this series had a Kevin Feige. I do not think...
It's Kathleen Kennedy,
I don't think
Nando.
she's capable of it. I really don't. They fire all their directors, and half of the movies are not great. Or like, I mean, not half of them are not great, but their track record isn't stellar. Would you... I don't know. See, I feel conflicted.
How so? What is your conflict?
I just wish the three movies were done by the same guy. I don't care which one.
I mean, that's fair.
I'll
fair.
take 3 J.J. Abrams.
The thing is, I didn't mind. I mean, I would agree that Last Jedi feels fairly different from Force Awakens. I did not mind that because I thought Force Awakens was pretty bad. So
Really
It was
bad.
I don't think it's
That
bad.
was
I think
fine.
it's mediocre.
I did not care for that movie. So having a different thing that I then thought was really great was like, man, this is so much more what I want this trilogy to be. Hell yes. So that was fine.
See,
with
then-
Is
me.
Ryan Johnson getting one, or is that not happening? I can't remember like where they're at
It's
with
not-
that.
I don't know how clear that is at this point. I think it's still happening.
I'm going to put a real hard... I'm going to put, like... What's the biggest chip you can have at a roulette table? I'm putting that on no.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's putting it all on. All on.
I have a feeling
Double
this time
zero.
next year
Double zero.
we'll learn he also doesn't have one, the same way Benioff and Weiss probably didn't have one in May, but they
Yeah.
couldn't tell us until recently.
Right.
But that's just a guess. But yeah, I don't feel confident anyone at Star Wars has a job in a year except for Jon Favreau.
Yeah.
I think
that's a
Kathleen
great
Kennedy
point.
could be gone. I think Ryan Johnson could be gone, and I don't think JJ has any future like things in the like irons in the fire.
Right.
And Benioff and Weiss are already gone. I mean, how weird is it that this Star Wars movie is now, and there is no Star Wars movie on the schedule? That's
That is
weird.
pretty crazy.
I mean,
That's pretty
not
crazy.
Not even the Boba
I
Fett
think
one.
it's good. I wish they would take a. I hope they take a big break.
I think they should take a break, but I'd also, even a break, I'd say like, I would expect if I were a Disney investor or something, or just someone who's like keeping up with the way most of these franchises work, that they would say, we are making Star Wars Episode 9 2019, 2022, Star Wars Episode 10, or, Obi-Wan prequel movie if they weren't doing the show. Something to that effect. Knights of the Old Republic movie 2023. Like, what kind of studio or what kind of franchise as big as Star Wars doesn't call a shot when they have the movie in the theater? Besides like stuff like The Mandalorian, the Ewan McGregor thing, but I don't know. It just feels so strange.
But
Even when Marvel kind of did it,
think
you were
that's-
still like, it's weird that they haven't named these movies that are 3 years out, even though they're already on track.
I mean, I think it's fine if they don't know where the direction of the like future is, because they don't need to.
Yeah.
If they took a theoretical 5-year cinematic break from Star Wars, no one would be upset.
Yeah.
I think we're looking at this too much from the perspective of a post-Marvel world.
Yeah, I agree.
I think in the pre-Marvel world, it would not have seemed weird to be like, well, there's going to be a Star Wars movie this year, and then who knows when the next one is. That would have been the most normal thing in the world. And I kind of hope that they do that. I want Star Wars to focus on weird side projects instead of like just making big trilogy after big trilogy. I want the weird shit.
I completely agree, and I think that's I guess more or less what I was trying to get in the beginning of this with 8 is like I never felt like there was any creative direction. So I was talking to somebody about this today who I talked to about this stuff a lot. He was saying like he was asking, is there any indication that there was never an overarching plot? right? And the answer is yes. I'm pretty sure Ryan Johnson has said that J.J. Abrams handed him all of the mysteries and said, figure out where they go.
That's how J.J. Abrams operates.
Oh, yeah, but it's insane. That's an
Yeah,
insane
no.
way to do a series like this where one person isn't in charge of all of it.
It's an insane way to do anything. It's really
Yeah.
bad the way JJ creates these big mysteries that have no answer and doesn't care about anything but making you wonder, oh, what could the mystery be? But
It's pretty bizarre. I really can't wait till you guys see 9. It's killing me. It's eating me up from inside.
that's part of why I loved Last Jedi also, is that it took all those big mystery boxes JJ handed him and was like, where should I put these? And then dunked them in the fucking trash.
I cede my time to someone else.
No, you have to give a defense of this movie.
Why
I
am
will
I
not let you
defending it?
cede your time.
I don't like it that much. It's fine. I think it's fine. But my
What,
defense,
like-
here's my defense. There's one
Yeah.
character who they create in this movie. There's also, here's the other thing. I don't like any of the new characters in this movie. I don't feel very connected to any of them. DJ sucks. No offense, DJ. You're a DJ, but
That's
not you.
fair. That's fair.
Rose, I don't really care for. Not that I think she's bad, but I just don't. Nothing about her like strikes me. Holdo, I don't like. That's it, right? Are there any others I'm missing?
All right, I got one more thing before you get to yield your time.
Wait, but there is one good character.
Poe? You like Poe?
No, new one.
The master cracker.
BB9?
What was yours?
The master
BB9?
code breaker.
No.
No,
Oh, yeah.
not Codebreaker, not BB9. Who's BB9? Is that the black one that's bad?
Yeah.
BB
No, it's not him
hate.
either. He's
BB-8. Yeah.
BB8. Yeah.
We love
No,
BB-8.
it's Captain Kennedy is the best one.
Who?
Okay.
You guys don't know who Captain Kennedy is?
I watched this movie 2 days ago and I don't know what you're talking about.
He's only named once, and he's in the movie for about a minute tops. But so when they're doing the first scene is this raid on what did they call it? Dauntlers or some bullshit like that.
Sure.
It's a dreadnought. The dreadnought.
Okay.
He's in charge of the dreadnought,
Oh.
and he is this giant-faced Englishman who's getting yelled at by fucking Hux, who this movie hates. Like, I don't think Hux had to be a loser, but I think by 8 they decided he was. So he's like, Captain Kennedy, why can't you kill these bombers? And he's like, I can't. It's too fast. I don't know what you want me to do, kid. And it's so funny. He has one line where they're like, God, someone's like, he's like, scramble the bombers 5 minutes ago under his breath. Because he's so, like, I think there's 2 levels of Star Wars villains I'll accept. There's uber competent, like Tarkin. I'd say Tarkin is like the high bar for a Star Wars villain who just knows what he's after. He's doing it. The only way it fails is some random 1 in a million chance. And then just like end their rope, like everything is going wrong today and I just have to keep the ship flying. And he's so good at that. Go watch the beginning scene again and just try to catch all of his little moments. They're terrific.
I will say another great character choice that Last Jedi made is realizing that Maz Kanata is fucking nothing. So just don't use
Awful.
her.
Worst character in the series, I'd say. In the prequel or sequel trilogy. She's nothing but a plot device with a big head. And she's the only CGI character in the first one that looks like CGI.
Yeah.
And she's wasting a good actress.
Who is the actress?
Lupita
Nyong'o.
Oh.
The one
Ooh,
from
God.
Us, who is 2 people.
Oh, yeah, I know who that is. I just, I didn't know that was.
Oh, yeah. Nakia.
Yeah.
She has the power of the Black Panther stripped away. I'll never not laugh at that. That movie's great, but Jesus Christ. That line. It's awesome. But yeah, no. So I like Captain Kennedy a lot. I just wish there's a character that'll come up in this new movie called General Price or something. He's played by an old British man. I don't know.
They always are.
Yeah. I wish this series had a Tarkin. That's all I wish. I wish there was someone on the level of Kylo Ren. Did you guys ever buy into Hux?
Hux is a perfect representation of a fascist, a fucking loser.
Right, but did you ever buy him as
it's true.
dangerous or competent?
No.
Did you ever not think that if Kylo Ren wanted, he could have set off? Who cares?
No.
Right. I never got that feeling with Tarkin. Tarkin and Vader seemed to be equals, and that's what I liked about him.
I think Hux was supposed to look like an idiot.
So I think that's a mistake.
Yeah, it's fair criticism.
I really think Episode 8, the prequel trilogy has bad everything, but it creates a couple pretty interesting villains in Dooku and Sidious. I don't think they're particularly well utilized, but I like the idea of Old Man Jedi or Old Man Sith, and then just Sidious is like being fleshed out, and he's, I don't know, his plot lines are always
Sidious as
stupid.
just being Christopher Lee.
Yes, exactly. But he's got this like weariness to him that I feel like I don't see from any other villain, Sith villain specifically, especially in that trilogy. It's like Darth Maul doing backflips all over the place, and what's the name of the robot that sucks?
General Grievous.
General Grievous coughing like there. I think the thing about what's his name, Tyrannus or whatever. The thing I like about Christopher Lee is he feels very much like the Obi-Wan Kenobi of bad guys, where it's like he knows what he's doing. He's like he's serious. He's not falling for any of your bullshit. We're even like Vader. You're like, he's dangerous, but also this whole daddy issues thing is gonna take him down eventually. Whereas with Sidious, you're like, what's this guy after? What's he up to? How are they gonna get him? And the answer is, eventually they will cut his head off. But that's the great thing about Sidious. You have to. This bad guy has to kill him. You know?
Do you mean Dooku?
Oh, sorry, Dooku. Who's Sidious?
That's Palpatine.
The Palpatine.
Sidious. Oh, sorry, I meant Tyrannus. I always see when I was a kid, I never called him Dooku because I had a book that called him Darth Tyrannus, and I stuck with that. And in my brain, the way I was just saying that, his name was like Mr. Sidious, and his Sith name was Darth Tyrannus. So yeah, Dooku. I think Dooku is one of the better antagonists the Star Wars movies have produced, but doesn't do anything too interesting with. And it's a bummer.
All right.
So all in all, Last Jedi, bad movie. Attack of the Clones, good movie.
Last
I
Jedi,
think we all agree.
best Star Wars movie ever made. I'm glad we could settle on this.
It's okay. Nando, you're ceding your time. All right, Diggins, you get a minute. I just want to hear this. What's your greatest criticism of Last Jedi?
Hey, no one made you criticize
And then we'll move on.
Empire. Hold on.
Yeah,
I'll go
DJ,
back and I'll do it. I'll go back
criticize
and I'll do
Empire.
mine. Okay, I'll criticize Empire. At some point, they get to the end of the movie probably too quickly, which is like the stuff in Cloud City. It goes one way, then immediately goes the other, and then Luke's just there, and the end of the movie feels super rushed.
Yeah, question about the end of the movie, and I'm trying to remember between 5 and 6. At one point, Luke goes to Yoda, and Yoda and Luke are arguing about something, right? And Yoda's like, "You have to stay, or else you'll die," or something, right?
Yeah.
Is he wrong about that?
Well, he doesn't say he'll die. He'll say that, you're not ready to go. So if you
He
go,
says something
bad
like,
shit will happen.
if you go, it will doom your friends.
But that's not true.
Yeah, it's kind of true in that Han gets taken, but I don't know.
But that was happening.
Yes.
That was happening
Yeah,
anyway.
I wish Yoda was a little bit more specific.
Well, that's not how the Force works.
But I mean, like,
I think it's just
was he lied to?
a case of the wording being weird. I think what Yoda is supposed to be saying is like, "Hey, man, if you go, you're just going to make it worse."
Right.
Yeah.
But he doesn't, right? He makes it the same?
Well, we don't know. We don't have the counterfactual of what if Luke didn't go.
Well, I mean,
We don't have
Luke
that.
doesn't.
Vader-
Luke doesn't help the situation at all.
he definitely doesn't hurt it.
But
I
guess
think he does help. He draws Vader away. All the heroes escape because of
that's
Lando.
Vader's plan. Like, he falls into Vader's plan. Like, maybe Vader would have made a misstep if Luke doesn't come. We don't know. We don't have that info.
I guess the more overarching concern is it does feel weird that Yoda says that and then never gets delivered on.
I think Yoda's not omnipotent.
Omniscient.
Omniscient.
Omniscient
He's
is
not an
all-seeing.
omnidroid.
Okay, sorry. What's omnipotent? Did I make up a word? I made up
All-powerful.
a word, didn't I? Oh, damn it. Okay,
Yeah.
he's not omniscient. He has an idea of what the future might hold, but it's not a guaranteed thing. So he's just providing a warning. I don't think he's wrong.
Yeah, no, I agree. It just it always there are some things that happen in these movies, and I mean, talking about how the movies don't seem to know what they're doing movie to movie. I mean, George Lucas just really made some shit up between movie, like the whole Luke and Leia thing is
Oh God,
an
yeah.
afterthought. So like I guess that also seems like a slightly, I don't know, it feels out of character for Yoda. Yoda's great. Listen, I don't want to say bad things about Yoda.
Yeah, they'll come after you, man. You can't say bad things.
He's cool. He's great, except for when he's in the prequels, then he's bad, and he makes all the wrong decisions, and he looks like crap. But otherwise, pretty good. What about Yaddle?
Right.
Yaddle's pretty good.
Oh,
Yeah,
God.
Yoda's wife, right?
Yeah, no, but a similar...
Unrelated.
Yeah, just another Yoda,
Sorry.
if that's what we're calling him. She can, do Force time magic, I think?
Oh.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
she can like slow down time.
She
She doesn't, but that's what her Wikipedia entry says. Remember 5 weeks ago when we all had to Google what a Yoda was? That was fun.
Yeah.
Still no idea.
I prefer the fact that Santa Claus is a Yoda in the Star Wars universe.
Wait, what? Santa Claus is an Omega level mutant, Diggins. I want to have you talking bad about
Get
Santa.
it right.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. What's your thing though?
Yeah, Diggins, what's like
Is
your
Santa
thing
a
about
Yoda?
Santa
Is that a
being
thing?
Yoda?
There's a page in a Star Wars book or comic book or something somewhere where Santa shows up and he's a Yoda, but
Oh,
That's amazing.
fun.
That's amazing.
How different.
So, but that's obviously not canon.
or
Was
is
there
it?
any? Like, they don't even have Christmas. Does that mean Christ is also a Yoda?
Yeah, Jesus is real.
Maybe.
And a
Universe.
Yoda.
Well, you know that theory that that the humans in Star Wars are just portrayed as humans for what do you call it? Just for simplicity's sake, but really they're all bee people.
I've never heard that before.
Yeah,
I haven't heard that either.
I pretty much described the main gist of it to you there. So
I mean, listen,
good.
I think I got it. It's great. It's better than anything I've ever heard before. You know what? Now that I hear that theory, I think I like Last Jedi. Just kidding. It's dumb. No, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's a good movie. I don't not like it. And by golly, once you guys see 9, you'll understand why
golly.
I love it. It's
One-
not my favorite movie.
one could say The Last Jedi is the best Star Wars movie ever made, and you'd be right to
Yeah.
say that.
At least
Okay.
one, maybe 2 could say it. 3, that'd be a lot. I wouldn't buy it. I'd say somebody's getting that Disney cash from the reviewers. It's a bummer that Disney ran out of that cash they used to bribe reviewers. You know, they took a big hit on Dumbo and they lost their bribery.
Their
cash.
bribe money, yeah.
Yeah, that sucks
Wouldn't
for them.
take it anymore.
All right, do I
All
get
right.
to say my best Star Wars movie?
No, Diggins has to criticize Last Jedi,
shit,
and
yeah,
then
I
we
forgot
can
about
move
that.
on.
Well, it's just too perfect.
Damn it, Diggins.
That's
something.
the only problem.
There-
Okay.
You're too academic.
How about this? Can you not admit, but can you like?
No, I
me.
actually have one.
Oh, okay, cool.
No, I was just making a goof, making a laugh 'em up. I would say that it's a movie that kind of has 2 climaxes. The ending is
Okay.
The ending. I like both of the ending bits. Like first of like Rey's confrontation, and then like when they're on the planet with Luke confronting Kylo Ren. But it does feel a little weird that we have 2 like climactic showdowns, and they both
Yeah.
kind of feel like they're meant to be like the thesis statement in some way, and it feels like the ending could have been a little more compact than it is.
All right. Fair.
I have a question.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Does
Just like, you're allowed.
No, I had to think about it in my head because I thought about this yesterday. I haven't watched the movie. I was going to watch it today, but then we kind of changed our minds on what it was. Or like
Without
we were
telling
like,
Diggins,
we don't
'cause
have
we're
to do
mean.
specifically this one. And I was like, all right, well, I got to drive, so I'll listen to our podcast on it. And then I realized I don't even know. Does Luke ever apologize to Kylo Ren?
Yes.
Oh, it would be in 7, not 8, right?
No.
Or
It would have to be an 8,
Is it
right?
an
Luke
8?
and Kylo Ren don't meet in 7.
oh, that's a
Luke's
good
not
point,
in,
duh.
well, except at the very end. Luke's not in 7.
Yeah. When
He
does he?
does at this like during their showdown, like before they really get started, he says something like, "I failed you. I'm sorry."
I don't think he says I'm sorry because I actually watched the showdown. I think he just I don't think that's there, and it's quite strange. I actually have it on right now.
He definitely acknowledges that he failed him. That 100%
But it
happens.
just the specific apology is what's missing for you,
Yeah,
Nando.
I just want Luke to give him a little
Admit
bit
he was wrong. All right.
because like Luke Skywalker's a lot of things. He's not mean. He's whiny for sure, but I wouldn't say he's like
I don't know. You drink enough of that blue milk, and maybe you turn
Yeah,
mean.
you're just like, oof.
It's like that testosterone thing that you're supposed to shower with it that they try to trick old people into buying. It's like if you drink enough blue
Whoa,
milk,
what's
your
this?
testosterone just goes through the roof, and you're not saying sorry to nobody.
Is this a real thing?
Yeah. There's like a fake there's a fake like trend to trick old people to thinking they have low testosterone. Mostly old men, obviously. And they give them like all kinds of stuff like pills, but also like body wash. Your day is gonna be made. Go watch commercials for something. It's low T is the like disease that they say you have, and it's Luke
Well,
does
then.
not say. I don't think Luke says anything to Kylo. Hold on.
I don't know. I think do remember him saying, like, I failed you or something to that effect. I don't think he's just like, hey, Kylo, you're a big nerd. You suck.
Hey,
I don't think that
Kylo,
ever
how's
happened.
Whoa,
it
no,
sealed?
it's so much worse.
What is it?
Here's the line exactly.
Okay.
So Luke shows up, Kylo comes down in his little ship, and then Kylo says, hold on, I want to hear
This is riveting. This is the joke that we were going to do earlier. We're like, oh, we'll just watch it and do a DVD commentary.
So Luke shows up, gets shot by all the stuff, doesn't die,
Yep.
doesn't brush her shoulder, because sure. And then Kylo comes down and he says, did you come back to say you forgive me or to save my soul? And Luke says, no.
Okay.
Luke's an asshole.
Well, what else does he say?
I'm sorry I tried to kill you. I changed my mind. It was clearly a misunderstanding. Like,
Okay.
why not say that?
Oh, wait, he doesn't say that?
No! Of
What
course
does he-
this guy's going to go evil.
Luke doesn't say anything. He doesn't say anything.
I
You tell me
think
he's just
later
like,
he does say, I failed you.
So he says no, then they fight. He says
Okay.
no, and then they fight, and then he, like, tricks him into fighting him, kind of, right? Like, it's not like he's like, I'll give you a chance to learn, like, you know, to learn the lesson before you maybe kill me. He's like, try to kill me, and then if that doesn't work, maybe I'll try to teach you the lesson.
Well, I mean, but he's not actually fight. Like, I don't understand why it's so bad that he lets Kylo, like, attack him a little bit. He's clearly not going to hurt him.
Well, but just the idea that, like, it seems like he wants to,
Well, he wants to distract Kylo. That's the main reason he's there.
but, like, he never gave Kylo a chance.
to, like, be good.
Well, because
Yeah.
because in the movie we already did that with Rey.
But Luke is the one that tried to kill him. It's on Luke's shoulders. All of Kylo's failings are on Luke's shoulders, and he never, like, just never gives him an out. Or never tries to, like, Luke never really seems to come to terms with that, besides talking to Rey, but never with Kylo.
I feel like this is searching for a problem.
I mean, it just makes Luke seem like a jackass. And it's all these movies are all about Kylo Ren being mad that Luke tried to kill him one day. And it's really weird that Luke and Kylo meet.
Not necessarily.
Well,
I mean,
okay. There's more to it than that. But yeah, that's Kylo's arc we learn in Last Jedi comes from this time when Luke tried to kill him, and it set him on the path of darkness, and it was like Luke's fault too. And Luke really acknowledges how much he failed. And the movie's all about failure, right? But Luke never gives Kylo any chance.
Again, because I think in terms of, like, movie craft, we already did that. It'd be redundant to do it again.
Yeah, like, you could say that maybe the failing of the movie was, like, the second chance moment shouldn't have come from Rey. It should have come from Luke.
No, I think it makes. I think we should move on to the next movie, and we're spending
Yeah,
too much
we
time.
We should move on way before I got to the point in the movie right about the middle of the fight where he says, I'm sorry. We'll move on. Edit past this, guys. We're keeping going. We're just pushing along. So he does
I'm
say
leaving
I'm sorry,
all of this in.
but he should
Leaving
lead
it
with it. He should
1000%.
lead with it. Do you ever
we
get
should
to get in a
so,
fight?
Yeah, we should.
Do you ever get in a fight with your
wait,
girlfriend
so actually
and then
this was a
halfway
fake
through say
argument
you're
the whole
sorry?
time.
That's never
Are you-
acceptable.
Are you kidding me? I do that all the time.
Right, but that's bad. You're supposed to say you're sorry when you do something wrong, Luke. Things can only get worse.
All right, so the whole argument was fake, and he says it actually.
He says it, but, like, he doesn't.
This is funny.
Then why does he make him fight? Why not just say you're sorry? Just say
Because
you're sorry,
he's trying to distract him.
We're not
But
going
what if
anywhere.
you turn
This
him back?
You're not going
This
to.
is
We did that
ridiculous.
already.
But like Ray, he doesn't give a shit about Ray. She's just some person he kind of knows.
Max,
Luke is his
Stephen A.
whole world.
Max,
Skip,
Stephen A.
I want to
You-
address the issue.
Skip. Oh God.
Well, if he's Max and I'm Stephen A, then you're Skip, right?
No,
I'm
Skip is gone.
no,
He's
no,
long
yeah, that's
gone.
true. There's no.
Yeah.
If the three of them together would kill everybody, there always has to be one like kind of mediator person that. Just,
I'm Molly.
Yeah.
and then. You're Stephen A. and Nando is Max.
I want to be Skip. Can I be Skip?
Fine, be Skip.
All right, I'm Skip.
Okay. Skip. and
Anyway,
Stephen
here's my Skip point. I don't mind any of the stuff about Luke quitting. It just I don't know. It's just so weird that this is the movie.
A. I think this is a weird point to like. I've never heard this argument for Last Jedi being bad, and I feel like I've heard them all. This is a new one.
Luke tries to start a fight with Kylo Ren before he apologizes to him. That's my problem.
All right. Okay.
Let's
agreeing
move
to disagree.
on.
I don't know. Yeah, I think we should move on. Nando, you have the floor.
This movie's great, except all the things it does to Luke Skywalker. Or Jake Skywalker. I'm pretty sure we're calling him Jake Skywalker. Remember that?
God.
Isn't that weird?
I don't know what this is. What's Jake?
So Mark Hamill did an interview where he was like, listen, Luke Skywalker doesn't quit. Jedis don't quit. I kind of treated it as if I was playing a new character called Jake Skywalker. But now all the guys are coming out and being like, yeah, I didn't really like the movie either. What's with that? Is it weird?
I agree it's weird.
But I don't know. But is it though?
Here's how I see it. When you're on a team, you just got to go with your current head coach. And that's it. And JJ.
Yeah, what if it turns out JJ is like going to all of them and being like, hey, listen, I need you to go out and trash the last movie so people think this one's better.
I wouldn't be surprised. Or just like Disney, like some Disney guys like, listen, the people that are going to buy a lot of toys, they don't like this movie. But if you guys say you didn't like this movie either, they'll buy your toys. Like, I don't think it has to be more complicated than that. I really don't. I don't think that's what's happening. Because also, I think it's reasonable for a person like John Boyega, a young person, like, Tom Cruise, he knows how the business works. He's been around the block a million times. Same with, like, Benedict Cumberbatch versus, like, Tom Holland. You get somebody in an interview, and they're not the most prepared person ever, they could maybe say they didn't like the movie,
Yeah,
that's
sure.
You got a lot of young people who this is their first big movie, or, like, third, I guess, but, I'm sure the Attack the Block press wasn't this, like, aggressive. And I don't think Boyega's been in anything else big, right?
I don't think so, no.
Yeah, Daisy Ridley and Oscar Isaac, they've had work in the last couple of years, but John Boyega has not. He's going to Carnival, baby. He's getting the butts or whatever. Did you see that interview?
No.
So Disney made him take down Instagram pictures. He was like grinding with girls at Carnival or something. And he was like, man, sometimes I just want to grind with girls. It's cool. And I'm like, yeah, John Boyega, maybe Disney is bad. Monopoly's all be damned. Maybe you should just be able to do whatever you want on your damn Instagram.
Okay.
All right.
Next movie. We're like 2 hours in.
Yeah.
So
Going to be as long as a Star Wars movie.
How long is the short one, though? Because the new one's shorter than the other two. Did you guys know that?
Weird.
Is it?
I believe so. Yeah, I think it's the shortest of the three.
Huh.
Oh, how about that?
You'd never believe it. You'd believe it. Oh, you would believe it. All right.
Okay, well, that was a very long and spirited debate
And
regarding
let me
the
say
last.
real quick.
Yes. Okay. Oh God.
Didn't not like this movie. I appreciate it. I think it's interesting. Not every single part of it was for me, but I like Rian Johnson, and I like. We clearly Star Wars doesn't deserve him, but it just for some reason there's some things about it that just don't make it my favorite Star Wars movie. But would you like to know what my favorite Star Wars movie is?
I would love
to
to
know that.
Spider-Man 2. It's the best Star Wars movie ever made. Here's why.
You know
First
what?
of all,
Actually, I'm swayed immediately.
Sacrifice. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Nah, so many people love Spider-Man 2. I like Spider-Man 2 a lot, but I don't know. It's fine.
It's the second best Spider-Man movie ever.
Right. Behind which one?
Yeah,
Spider-Verse.
behind what?
Oh, sure. Yeah, for sure. I forget that one exists.
It feels like hard to count that one, but I get
It's a
it.
Spider-Man movie.
I know, but it's hard to do a Spider-Man movie where the whole point of it is the character. Not like, because I agree. I think it's the best one. But it's hard to compare it to Spider-Man, where Spider-Man 2 is just like, oh man, should I be Spider-Man? And all the Spider-Verse characters are like, what does it mean to be Spider-Man? Here's what it means to be Spider-Man. You gotta be like, it's so existential and like high level that it's almost like, well, yeah, I mean, that's better because they're asking questions he's asking plus more questions and the action's better. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Spider-Verse is terrific.
So what's your favorite Star Wars movie?
Mandalorian, episodes 1 to 3. I think they make a really
That's
good
not a movie. You're
It's a
breaking the
movie.
rules.
Hottest take. As you can see,
movie.
listeners, we decided to go in the order of coldest to
yeah.
hottest take.
Believability. Well, like,
I
okay,
don't think it's that hot of a take if you count it as a movie.
if
Well,
you're
that's
just
what makes
taking
it a hot take.
if you're just taking the movies, I think I've made my case pretty strong. Not made my case, but I think I've tipped my cards. A New Hope is probably my favorite Spider-Man movie.
Favorite
and Star Wars
Spider-Man.
movie. He's in there.
Nothing
okay?
makes sense
How do
anymore.
you think Luke swings on that little spinny, like his little grappling hook thingy? How do you think he does that?
What if
Spider-Man powers.
bigger Luke is Spider-Man?
Oh my God, Luke with 2 L's or 2 U's or whatever.
We just cracked this thing wide open.
Oh my God, that's why Marvel got it. Marvel needs to get Sony, and then they can fulfill the prophecy because they can't technically call him by Marvel. I mean Disney, but same thing. They need to get full Marvel so they can merge Disney and Marvel. via or Star Wars and Marvel. God damn it, there's so many companies now.
But they're all one
Pixar
company.
and
Well,
Muppets
no,
need
we're
to
getting
merge
less. That's the
Spider-Man.
problem.
Yeah, that's true. Anyway,
So the Mandalorian
season
is not a
episodes
movie.
1 through 3. So let's say
Okay.
it's a feature length movie like time. It's like 90 minutes at
It's
least.
like, it's like an hour and a half.
Yeah, first couple are like 35 minutes. I think the second one's around there too. So I think they tell a complete story that can be expressed as a movie. Like I think if you put that in theaters, that would be an acceptable motion picture.
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah, like I think there's a beginning, middle, and an end, and I think it's got character growth. It's got everything you could ask for. And I think so. The thing I love about Mandalorian, no women, just kidding. Well, there aren't, but they show up eventually.
Wow.
And you know what? I really like. DJ's a couple behind, and you know what? I'm not gonna get into it. Well, you've seen 4, right?
Yeah.
I like Cara Dune. I think she's a fun character.
Okay.
The one from wrestling. What's her name?
Yeah.
Gina Carano. Is that right? Yeah.
Is she
I
a
think that's that
wrestler?
actress's name.
I did not know that.
She was. I think she was MMA fighter or something.
Oh, okay.
I don't know exactly what her background is, but it's something like that. She was in Fast 7. No, Fast 5. Fast 6. Have you seen Fast 6, Diggins?
No, I have seen the other two.
Oh, you're missing the best one. Well, yeah, 6 is the best one. DJ knows. The Rock has an assistant that betrays everybody. It's her.
Yeah.
So, but either way, no.
Never see it coming.
I think, yeah, right. I think The Mandalorian it's the closest I've seen so far as someone who has watched all the movies, obviously watched most of the TV shows. Well, no, that's not true at all. I watched some of the TV shows. I haven't watched Rebels. I hear Rebels is probably the best show besides Clone Wars, but I haven't watched all of Clone Wars. I haven't watched any Rebels. Played a lot of the games. Pretty familiar with most of the supplementary material. As far as the new stuff is concerned, I feel like The Mandalorian does a great job of feeling like Star Wars without being a core Star Wars thing. Better than Rogue One and Solo. And they haven't tried this too much, but I do feel like it captures the spirit of Star Wars for me and the aesthetic of Star Wars, maybe even better than The Last Jedi and Force Awakens. I don't know if you guys agree, but
Aesthetic, hell yeah.
It captures a aesthetic
it's-
of Star Wars, I think, very well. I think that is true.
yeah, it's more than aesthetic though. Like the affect of Star Wars, the dirtiness, the lived-in-ness. Because I think you could say aesthetic-wise, there's a lot of fan service in there, which is like kind of cheap aesthetic. But I think the thing about the first 3 episodes specifically, so people that haven't seen the first 3 episodes, very, very basically, without, I'm going to spoil it, but I'm not going to go into huge details, and it's about what you'd expect. Mandalorian, he's got a name, but they all call him Mando. Or not they all call him that. Who calls him that? Nick Nolte's guy?
He's like the guy who gives him all his bounties.
And
calls
yes,
him
that's
Mando.
right. Apollo Creed.
Carl Weathers.
Carl Weathers, yeah.
Random bar denizens.
Yeah. Every so often someone will meet him. I think Cara Dune also does. But they all call him Mando, right? So, which is weird because he's a Mandalorian, you know? It's like if they called him Whitey,
Yeah.
right? Like,
I mean,
it's his race.
I mean, to be fair, they only see one at a time.
Yes.
So then that it makes sense given that information.
Is he the only one that gets to leave when he's out?
I would assume so,
That's-
given that the guy yells at him
Yeah,
for being like, "We have to stay in hiding."
It's-
Those
Seems
poor
to be the
guys.
implication.
He's off doing missions. We never see him at home, right?
Yeah.
Do you think they're like, hey, can you speed this up? I want to leave. I have missions too. He's not the best one of them, or is he?
He must be.
He
right?
might. Yeah, he might be. Anyway,
But then why doesn't he have a jetpack? Why do they all have
Exactly.
jetpacks except
'Cause
for
he
him?
got
he doesn't
to
even have
pick.
his Beskar.
It was either the jetpack or the cool cape, and he picked the cool cape.
Yeah.
Boba Fett gets both. Boba Fett does have
Yeah.
both.
Look what
Boba Fett
happens.
was cooler than him. I don't know.
And his jetpack immediately malfunctions and throws him into the Sarlacc pit. So, like, maybe jetpack isn't worth it with
Where
Kate.
he is still being digested for the next 10,000 years.
Yeah,
That is true.
unless in a certain 9. No, just kidding. Thank God. Can you imagine? No, but so the the Mandalorian. I don't know what you would call it if you want to call it something like the child episodes or something like the really core story
The
of it.
Werner
is-
Herzog episodes.
oh my God, he's so good.
I love.
He's
them.
really good.
They're all that's the thing. So I think there's a lot to love about the Mandalorian. in a way that I don't think the new movies have done yet. It does a really good job of, and I don't necessarily think this is a Star Wars thing that it's doing better at Star Wars, but I do appreciate how much it manages to work in little weird character actors and stuff as like functions of the universe that make it more fleshed out and different. I don't think there is a Maz Kanata of this universe. You know,
I think that's generally true, but at the same time, seeing and hearing Amy Sedaris in a Star Wars thing almost broke my suspension of disbelief.
I mean, that's the bad one, though. We all
was
pretend
tough.
that episode didn't happen anyway. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. I watched it drunk at someone's house, and I've more or less seen it, and I know it was bad. But every other part, and then there's Bill Burr, who's the other one that, like, okay, sure.
Bill Burr's in it?
Yeah, he's in the trailer.
Oh, no, I was fucking around. I already knew
Oh,
that.
okay. Yeah.
I didn't see that episode, but I was aware that it was
you
He's
got
great
us,
in it.
DJ.
It's pretty funny. Someone on Twitter was like, I'm very upset about Bill Burr being in Star Wars because it implies the existence of Space Boston. And it's very true. Like, I'll accept almost any accent from Star Wars except an American one. Any specific American one like makes my head explode.
But even John Boyega, who is British, does an American accent for Star Wars.
But he doesn't. He does an American accent, but not an accent from America. You know what I mean?
He does
Like
like
if
a
someone did a New Orleans
yeah.
accent, I'd be like, ugh.
Well, what
Okay.
about everyone's favorite character Watto, who speaks in that like weird
Yeah, right.
Brooklyn accent?
Yeah, if that's what you want to
Hey, you got a pizza pie!
call it. Yeah. Ugh, God.
Hey,
Anyway,
when you think about it, I go into a bunch of really dicey stereotypes.
yeah. You want to do chance cubes? That's how my people solve things with gambling. White slavers, huh? How did we not see this one coming from good old George? Because the writing was on the wall. Anyway, The Mandalorian is good. It's got Mandalorian, everyone's favorite guy. But no, so anyway, so first episode, Mandalorian, just kind of him. He's got a bounty to do. He's good at bounty hunting. He has to go do bounties, but then Carl Weathers doesn't have any good ones for him. But he's like, hey, there's this German guy. He might be a director, but who knows? Maybe he acts. If you go to him, he'll give you a better bounty, but also it's bad. So he goes to him, goes to Werner Herzog. Werner Herzog's like, hey, I have a bounty for you. You can get all these little steel plates, but it doesn't have a puck, which is very important. So you just have to go kill a guy. He goes and kills a 50-year-old, except what happens then, it's not a 50-year-old man, as you would expect, or woman. It's a 50-year-old Baby Yoda. And then, instead of killing the Yoda, or instead of letting the IG droid kill the Yoda, he kills the IG droid and, like, takes the Yoda. So it becomes what is called in samurai/Western films a lone wolf and cub story, where Mandalorian is leading around little Baby Yoda and protecting him from the world. And the second episode is him just, like, trying to get out of the planet that they're on, and it ends with Baby Yoda using force powers, which is fun. And then the third episode, he gives Baby Yoda to the guys, the German man that wants him, and then he rescues Baby Yoda and leaves. I'd say it's a pretty full. If that was the first movie, I'd be pretty I'd be like, this is a beginning, middle, and an end. And I think having this be three episodes helps to split up kind of the the acts and the structure of it. It's pretty specific. So I love The Mandalorian. One thing I love about The Mandalorian, and I say this in a video essay I made very recently, is that I don't agree with people that, I think it's unfair to call Rey a Mary Sue or anything like that, but I do think I like a character who is bad at almost everything, except for the thing they're good at, right? John McClane is good at shooting people, and that's about it. He's kind of strategic, but he's also kind of an asshole, and he's smart, but not that smart. Mandalorian can walk into a room with a gun and kill everybody. That's it. He sucks at everything else, and it's really fun to watch him fail to ride a thing, or fail to win a big shootout, or fail to kill a big rhino. Like, I love how challenging everything is for this character, and how much, like, he gets literally and figuratively, like, thrown into the mud. He's more or less, like, he's likable. You don't know a lot about him, but I do think the show does a good job of doing a lot with a little in terms of his, the way he speaks and the way, just acts, moves his head around and stuff. And I think it's a really well-directed show. They got, what's his name? Rick Fukuyama, is that his name? The director of that show where time is a flat circle? It's been so long.
Oh, God. True Detective.
True Detective. Yeah, he directed the second episode, which I think is my favorite. Jon Favreau directed the first one. I forget who directed the third one. Another good director, but I think it just seems like a really good place for not like complete creativity, but because of how low the stakes are, the directors can like not take risks, but do cool and interesting things that I don't feel like would work in a Star Wars movie. As has been proven by like Solo and Rogue One, where the expectations on them are so high that they kind of have to go big when I don't think they really want to. And I just love the world building. I love the secondary characters. And I think as like an emotional journey, I find it quite compelling. I think it's very popular. Like, I think people like it. So I think that's a product of it. But I also think that might be a product of Disney Plus having one thing. So, what are you going to do? It's that or watch the High School Musical show.
God.
One advantage that it has, right, is that so I mostly agree with your premise that the first 3 episodes could be considered a movie, and then it could go from there. Maybe they would do the Inhumans thing where we'll release the movie in theaters and then turn into a TV show.
Man, that would have worked way better for this. Different.
Yeah,
Inhumans.
for sure. But then they would have had to film it on Hawaii for tax breaks, and nobody wants that. That would break the fun stuff of it. Everything would look so pretty and fun instead of dirty and sad.
So there's a lot, though, that it has the advantage of being a TV show. I feel like that, like maybe if the other Star Wars movies had that opportunity, they could be better. Like there's just something about the format that lends itself to being really good. I think the anticipation from episode 1 to 2 to 3.
I quite like. Accepting the premise that it's basically a movie, but then also arguing directly against that premise, as I'm about to right now. I like that it's so episodic, that it is. So much these days with streaming TV where seasons get released all at once, like shows kind of forget to make every episode its own discrete thing with its own arcs and its own like themes. There are some shows that are good at it. I think BoJack Horseman's a really good show about making sure every episode is its own thing. But just having that separation of being like, okay, this release on different days, it's not all dropped at once. Just in your mind helps create that separation. And then also the show itself is very episodic in a way that I'm actually quite enjoying.
I think the first 3 feel more connected than any other one so far, although I have a feeling 7 and 8 are going to be pretty connected. But like 4, 5, and 6 feel very almost like one-off and more episodic, whereas 1, 2, and 3 feel like an oversized pilot, and they're just because I do feel like 1, 2, and 3 are telling one story, which is the Mandalorian getting Baby Yoda from being his bounty to being his little ward. Whereas the rest of them are kind of like, can he go here? No. Can he go here? No. Can he go here? No. All right. Well, I guess he's got to do something else. But I agree. I think I think that I don't love streaming either. There's a lot of shows that I really liked. I just think the delivery method for a show being a binge as the default is a huge mistake. And I enjoy binging a show kind of, but I like this way more. This between watching Mandalorian every week and then watching Watchmen every week as a, like ingesting a piece of media, getting to think about it, getting to talk to people about it. I don't have to ask you guys, have you seen, DJ hasn't seen the last 2, but if this was The Boys or some other show that I streamed recently, I'd have to be like, okay, so how caught up are you on it? Have you started it? Are you in episode 1, 2? And then we could kind of keep up week to week. Like, I have a friend of ours who I text pretty much every week, like, yo, what you think of The Mandalorian? Because we all know we're on that page. And I feel like television, that was the one advantage it had over streaming, was a way to drive a conversation. So I really hope this and like Game of Thrones too, but I mean, that was bad. But still, should teach a lesson to some of the streaming companies that you can do it. They just need to own up to it and like just own it. Because
loyal listeners, if you want to know our opinions about Game of Thrones, you can just scroll back in your feed to after the Thrones,
or dunk your head in a toilet. That's pretty much the same. You'll get the same results, but it won't take you all the time.
I like to think that listening to our podcast episodes is slightly more pleasant than dunking your head in a toilet. But
well, for me now, even hearing the word Game of Thrones is like being, like hit with the taser. I just hate it so much.
What a shame.
I know.
What a turn.
But like whenever they're like, oh, it's going to be a new Game of Thrones, I'm like, no, I hate that. Don't make that.
I wish we could go back into the time machine to 2011, 2012. Nando was higher on nothing else than Game of Thrones.
We all were.
It influenced but I feel like you, to an extreme extent, were like, everything is now Game of Thrones themed.
It was
party Game of Thrones themed.
Everybody
Gifts,
was having
Game
them.
of
People
Thrones.
were going to bars, and then no, I don't think anything except for maybe a certain Star Wars movie in the horizon will ever drop the ball at the end as much as Game of Thrones did. It's just such a specific and weird set of circumstances that like it still blows my mind to this day. It was the thing, you know? It was everybody on Earth was it would be like, yeah, it's insane. And thank God for the Avengers, you know?
To return to the topic at hand.
Mandalorian.
I do enjoy The Mandalorian a lot as a TV show. I appreciate that, man, it's just fun to me to be off in like some weird, grimy corner of the Star Wars universe. Just like looking at some random adventures and not worrying about the big plot. It's fun. Like the fun thing about having a big universe like that is that you can go off and just say like, oh, let's see what is happening on a random planet that has nothing to do with anything else. And I want Star Wars to be doing more of that. Like the fun of the promise of Disney's endless content machine getting its grimy hands on Star Wars and pumping things out until the end of time is that, hey, maybe we get some like weird edge stuff and like side things. And to this point, that promise has really not been fulfilled. It's just been like mainline movies that are just focusing on all the stuff we've done before. So it's fun to me that we're finally getting something that's more like, oh, weird corner of the thing you always thought was kind of cool, but we don't really focus on that much. So, but
that's
all that being said, this is all a big prepositional phrase. The Mandalorian is like good and it's like fun. I don't know that it's the best Star Wars thing ever.
Ooh,
it's
hot.
It's
not really hot.
Fine. I'm enjoying it and I'm glad it exists, but I think that several of the movies are better constructed in the end than this is.
I mean, I'm sure that's accurate. Like, I think if you asked me which was my favorite movie, I still think 4 is my favorite movie. And I think a lot of it is because it's the perfect movie. Like, I think it hits every beat exactly right. And, you know, beginning, middle, and end, fun characters, conflict, it's all great. I would just think there's something about The Mandalorian that feels to me like it feels like it's pure Star Wars in a way that nothing since A New Hope and Empire have, where it's like, what is, because and part of it might have to do with the simplicity, and I think we kind of got at this, like the weight of the world being on every mainline movie's shoulders. It kind of has to do everything and be for everybody. Whereas this, I mean, I don't think this is, you know, breaking the mold and like going crazy, but I do think there's a sense of like the story. You boil down the story to just one guy over 3 episodes and 90 minutes doing the right thing and being hopeful and like taking risks and all that stuff, which I do think. And the way you were saying, because what exactly was you were saying that a Star Wars movie is X. It had to do with like one person in the galaxy.
It's about
Diggins. What was that exact sentence? As I remember at the point that feeling like it could.
I was saying it's ultimately about the ways that a person can change things through hope and love and believing the best in people and that sort of thing.
So yeah, I think that's pretty Mandalorian. I think the Mandalorian's more or less there. And I think the thing about the Mandalorian that's so great, and I think the most consistent theme of the entire series is the Mandalorian makes the right decision to save Baby Yoda out of, you know, outside of his best, what would seem to be his best interests. And then he and Baby Yoda go from place to place and make the world kind of better by being like, by caring about each other and stuff. And I think the hopefulness and the influence in the galaxy part, you know, they're not destroying the entirety of evil and the planet destroying laser, but you're taking like this story about love and and just like doing the right thing and applying it on a very small scale. But I think thematically, I think that's why it feels like pure Star Wars. Is it's like, what do you get when you strip away the space lasers and the Jedis and all the magic stuff? What is it at its core? It's about a guy doing the right thing and making things like using hope and belief in like what's good to make the universe better. And I think that's why I like it so much. It does seem very consistently like the Mandalorian goes, he fights with some people about X, and then he, through his bond with little Baby Yoda, he convinces the Mandalorians to help him fight the bounty hunters, or he convinces this bounty hunter to help him fight these guys. I don't know. I just think, I don't think it's the best Star Wars movie necessarily, but I do think as a pure expression of Star Wars, it is so like tight. And the first 3 episodes more than any else, although, like I was saying, 7's really good. And I think 7 and 8 together, you might be able to add them to 1, 2, and 3, and then turn that into like a nice 2.5 hour long movie. Although I think obviously they'll be leaving some things out, but yeah, I don't know. I just think, and the way, and the construction of the show in terms of models and puppets and stuff like that, I think it looks better than the other Star Wars movies. I don't know why. It looks better than Solo for sure, right? We can all agree Solo looks like crap. Yeah.
Yeah, just garbage.
I think it looks as good as Rogue One at being dingy and sad, although I think it is a better story than Rogue One. I think it's way better than Force Awakens at feeling lived in. That was always my big problem with the aesthetic of Force Awakens, is it felt very clean. And once you left Jakku, it always like, oh yeah, nice room, nice forest. Like, and that never felt like Star Wars to me. Last Jedi is close. I think it's as close as they've gotten to recapturing the aesthetic of the originals. Not necessarily saying like, there's a Salacious Crumb in one of the Star Warses, so we got to throw a Salacious Crumb in the Mandalorian. Like, I think that stuff more like almost set dressing. But yeah, they do all that stuff. But I think the way that the universe, and this is what, because I've read a book or two about Star Wars, one of the things that's really clear is George Lucas took Flash Gordon and he was like, what if it felt like a lived-in real world that was dirty and ugly and wasn't perfect? So I think as an expression of that idea, and I think that's pretty consistent in the 2 movies we all like from the original trilogy, and I think that's one thing we all really don't like about Return of the Jedi, is it loses that. Except for the Jabba Barge thing, which we all do like. But like when you get to the Endor forest planet, it's like, what kind of movie are we even in anymore? But I think Mandalorian is the best expression of that since Empire Strikes Back. And maybe some of the shows. I don't know. I really haven't seen, like, I hear Rebels is good. I really don't know. And I'm sure the video game, I hear the video game's pretty good.
Fallen Order?
Have either of you guys played that?
Video game?
Yeah, wow.
I wrecked it on the show.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yes. I forgot. So you like, I think that's I think aesthetically that seems to get Star Wars pretty right.
It does.
Yeah.
It seems like EA worked on that. Ooh, what a concept.
Well, I also think the other thing about Mandalorian that I love, besides your Salacious Crumbs, because DJ said you've seen Ford, Cara Dune, the best character in the history of Star Wars.
Yep.
Just kidding. It's what's his name? I already forgot his name. The one that's Nick Nolte. He's the best. He's so great.
Okay. I have spoken.
Yes, I have spoken, guy. Yes, Queel. That's right. One thing I like about 4 is it does 2 things really well. First of all, you go into that bar, there's a weird cat, doesn't get an explanation. It's just that's what things are like. Like we don't need it makes the universe feel really big by just throwing stuff in, but it feels natural because it's just like, this is a big universe and it'd be filled with stuff and it'd be weird for some people, whatever. I also really like how Mandalorian, and this is one thing that I think Rogue One did really well, recontextualizes kind of how people see parts of Star Wars. And I think this is what I always wanted from Rogue One, was like perspective. You see an AT-AT or AT-AT or whatever we're supposed to call it from the floor, and it's humongous. The scene where they're fighting the AT-ST, which I think Return of the Jedi does a huge disservice to, as this dorky thing that you can kill with 2 logs. Like, them trying to fight one AT-ST is a disaster because it's a monster. Like, it's so cool how you take this world, you fill it with stuff, and then you have all the space Jedis fighting over it with, like, wizard magic. But if you put one of those guys on the ground, it's a completely different world. And I think perspective is something that the Star Wars movie should play with more. And I think that's the one tiny bit of Rogue One that worked, besides like Dryden Voss and Lando. Remember the bit where they're doing a war and like Han Solo is I meant. Did I say
Other way
Solo?
around.
I meant Rogue
You
One.
you meant Solo. And
No, you said Rogue One.
Okay, I meant Solo. Yes, I have a bunch of pages open, and I'm looking
Okay.
at the one that says Rogue One, just because I'm trying to remember actors and moments. But remember the bit in Solo where he's at war,
Yeah, that's
and it's like, it's really early in the movie. It looks great. The movie doesn't give a shit about it. Like, it gets in and out of that
Right.
as quickly as it can. But stuff like that, I think, is just so cool. And I think if you want to say, and I think Disney does, a Star Wars movie has to mostly be filled with stuff you would expect to see in a Star Wars movie. Like, it has to have Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan Kenobi, or it has to have a guy in Mandalorian armor like Boba Fett. Then perspective is the only way you can add something new to it. And I think Mandalorian does that better than anything we've
now.
seen so
I will
far.
say, Cara Dune mentions that she was a shock trooper during the Battle of Endor, and it would have been hilarious to me if she was like, "Oh no, there's things that I saw want to get crushed by 2 logs. This is gonna be fine."
That would be so great. Yeah, right. If they just were like, I mean, this is the kind of shit that, man, you guys are in for a treat. This is the kind of shit J.J. Abrams would write into his movie. Hey, can we just get 2 logs to crush them? No. Okay. That would never work.
Boy.
All right, I guess not.
Oh,
Yeah, you're going to love it. You guys
I'm
are going
excited.
to love it. Call me when you see it. But yeah, that would
I
be
will.
funny.
I called you when I saw Jumanji.
And that was great. That was like 5 minutes before I did my sketch comedy show. And I was like, nah, I got to talk to DJ about Jumanji right now. Everybody was like,
That's
but
funny.
the comedian's going on. I'm like, yeah.
damn, sick burn.
And we did. We had time.
I hope.
Wow.
I mean, we did. That was the only
Incredible.
show we did that I feel like we really nailed. So maybe it was the extra Jumanji flowing through my veins that like gave me the, the
I hope
mojo
the comedian
necessary
who
to nail
opened
it.
for
But-
you isn't listening to this podcast.
Listening to the podcast.
Oh, we don't watch
yeah.
the comedian. The comedian is just almost like a 5 minutes places kind of thing. The comedian was
Oh, I
good. She was
see.
great. But that's more of like everyone was like, all right, so we're going to stand behind stage and wait for the show to start. And I was like, but I might go downstairs and take a call for those 5 minutes. You guys will be fine. But anyway.
So I have a question for you,
yes,
Nando.
please.
So do you think that, because I agree with a lot of the points you said, do you think because Mandalorian is so micro that it has like an unfair advantage against these movies that have to be about the big thing? Because Mandalorian has... It can be like, we're just about a guy who's, like that whole Western journey thing.
I think it has an unfair advantage, but I also think it has disadvantages. I think there's a specific amount of, or there's an amount of, like, grandness that people expect from a Star Wars movie that I think a lot of people would want from The Mandalorian and not get. So I think it has its benefits, and it's, like, being a small thing definitely has its pros, but it also has its cons. But I definitely I think more than anything else, and we're talking kind of about Spider-Verse, I think Disney had a huge year to like be busy with everything, and I think Mandalorian was probably the last thing they could micromanage if they wanted to. Obviously, Rise of Skywalker was probably higher on their priority in Star Wars terms, and then obviously there's a million different movies and TV shows, and I don't know how Disney organizes everything, but I think the biggest advantage Mandalorian had was low expectations. And not like, because I assume there's low expectations to like, I assume the expectations are high if the idea is we want to sell this streaming service. But I think that's nothing compared to we want to make a $2 billion movie.
That's part of why I
Rise
kind
of
of want
Skywalker.
Star Wars to just be weird side projects for a while, because they don't get meddled
Absolutely.
with as much, and they have more freedom to just be kind of their own idiosyncratic little thing.
And I think they make their money back. They must. Like, I think, did we hear that the budget for a episode of Rogue One is $10 million, or Mandalorian is $10 million, something like that. It's like a lot of money.
Man.
So that's not nothing, but also that's nowhere near the budget for a
That's
Star
true.
Wars movie. So
Right.
I think from a bean counting perspective, like dollars and cents, I think it makes sense on paper too. I don't know how streaming services
Hey,
make their
no
money
one
and
does.
what their long-term goal is. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's all fake.
So it's much more a Star Wars movie in theaters is much more transactional in terms of you're putting in this money or getting out this money. But with a streaming service, I mean, do you guys both pay for Disney Plus?
Yes.
Yes.
Or do you know someone that paid? Right. So like we all have a
I
Disney
pay.
Plus account. I would not have got it if there was no Mandalorian. Would you?
I would have
I
gotten
don't
it, but
know.
I might be the outlier. because Michelle and I are pretty big Disney marks,
Right,
And
yeah.
like, I'll be like, yeah, let me watch The Lion King.
Right,
so
right.
I think no matter what, like, it was like, take my money for this. So yeah.
I think it sold me, and I there's no chance I'd have it if it wasn't for that. I would wait for whatever the Avengers thing is, and then probably get it in like a year and a half or whatever.
The Ventures thing.
The Avengers, like the new,
WandaVision.
Oh, the
whatever
event. Oh,
Marvel,
God.
show is the Falcon and WandaVision. Oh, I'm so excited for WandaVision. I love everything about that show, and it's probably just because of the actors. And I love Kathryn Hahn. I think she's so funny. I'm really excited to see her in one of these. But yeah, I mean, what about you, Diggins? Do you think you would have?
It's hard to say. I kind of got a deal on my account, so maybe. But I.
Ooh.
No.
Verizon Fios, get it for a year. Ho, ho, ho.
Sorry, something in my throat. No, it's just a friend had a thing where it was like, get 2 years for this reduced price. So I went for that.
Oh yeah,
That's what I did.
DJ
I
got
did
that
the.
one, yeah.
I went to D23
So,
and I was like,
I
here,
might have done
take it
anyway,
all.
But The Mandalorian
knows?
definitely makes me feel a lot better about the decision. I'll say that.
Right. If it wasn't for that, I would really have to be like, this Jeff Goldblum show better work, and I love it. We watched it on
does.
Sunday morning, and it's a treat. But
Yeah, Diggins, watch the one on sneakers. It's so good.
yeah, it's an hour or 30 minutes of Jeff Goldbluming around with people that either are really excited for someone to Jeff Goldblum around, or someone that just wants to have the interview end and have to like endure Jeff Goldblum. It's so much fun. But yeah, so that's why I think the riskiness of it is great, but I also think the riskiness, at least in this instance, came with almost like a blank check for. And I think Jon Favreau, you give him credit because he's done all these movies that we all not like hate, but like Lion King, like it's sucks. But I think he did the best with the Lion King that he could have, assuming Disney was just like, make us a Lion King where all the lions look scary. But I think when you give him something like this that has some space to be its own thing, I think he did I think he can work really well with something like that. And I hope that they don't micromanage the second season when that eventually comes out.
I'm gonna
'cause
go.
That would be very upsetting.
Yeah, they
I
renewed
think
it.
we're definitely
But
getting one.
I'm going to go ahead and give all of my credit to Werner Herzog for calling them cowards for considering not having Puppet Baby Yoda. Yeah.
And not knowing what a Star Wars thing is, like having never seen the movies. Yeah, he's great, and he's good in it. He's really good. They're all everybody there is given 110%. Like even Bill Burr, I love him. Like no, I haven't seen anybody in this show yet phoning it in, which is great. Not that I've seen anybody do that in the movies, but it's just I think you could maybe say like, yeah, they're gonna give Werner Herzog a check, and he's going to be there, and he's going to smile and leave. But I don't know. I mean, Nick Nolte was awesome. Taika Waititi was great. Who else? Who's the second one? Is there not a new character?
Horatio Sands.
Horatio Sands was good. I liked him a lot. Gina Carano, better than I expected.
Amy Sedaris.
The kid from the little fuckboy from episode 5 who I hate. He's
the son, Cannavale.
Cannavale. He was supposed to be unlikable, so sure.
Ming-Na
Wen, great, loved her. There's just a lot of good stuff there. And I think Carl Weathers, originally I was like, what's he doing? And then after a little bit of time, I was like, oh, I love this guy. And then episode 7, you may get introduced to a certain Giancarlo Esposito who,
oh, is that who that was?
Very, very good. There's a lot to like.
Sense.
Yes. He's
a guy.
He's
a guy.
Well, you'll see, DJ. He's a something. Yeah, there's a name for him.
Do you guys know Carl Weathers' actual name?
What is it?
Reginald Val Johnson
like
is Carl
Reginald
Weathers.
something.
Oh, shoot. Oh, my God, I knew it. Reginald Val Johnson.
Family
from...
Matters.
Hold on. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, my favorite Star Wars name is Billy D. Williams' name.
What's it?
Billy D. Williams.
Do you know Diggins?
The character he plays? Oh, I don't know.
What's his real name? No, real name. William December Williams.
Oh my
It's the
God.
best name in history. His parents are
what the
awful.
hell?
Why would you do that?
I don't know, but look at what he made out of it. Billy D. Williams.
That's really
the
taking
best
some
you could
lemons and
do.
making some lemonade. Let me tell you.
He's the coolest Billy on earth. If you saw that guy and you were like, "Hey, Billy," you'd be like, "Ugh." I already want to throw up thinking about it. But instead, he turned it into a really cool name.
Do you guys know Juju Smith-Schuster,
No,
receiver for
absolutely
the
not.
Steelers?
Who the heck? No. And I watched football, and there's so many words you just threw at me.
His name is not actually Juju Smith-Schuster, but I'll just leave that there. He has a very like regular name, like James
Oh my God.
Dean.
Oh my God, he's that computer
Yeah,
generated
who's going to be in that
James
movie?
Dean? Finally, deep fake James Dean, and he's really getting out there these last couple of years between Steelers games and media bullshit for publicity for a movie nobody's gonna see. Wow, way to go! But listen, say bad things about The Mandalorian like I did about your movies. What's bad about it?
Oh,
no female characters. Yeah, not great. But also,
well, no,
it's a world where men are in charge and everything's bad, so I
think
kind of get it.
The Mandalorian it's just very standard. Like it's a
How dare
good,
you? No, I'm kidding.
It's a good execution of a bunch of like Western and samurai tropes, and I'm enjoying it a lot. But at the end of the day, it's just a Star Wars veneer on a lot of old Westerns and such. And it's not bringing much
fair.
actually like new or interesting other than the Star Wars veneer. And that's fine. I like Star Wars. I like having a Star Wars veneer on this stuff. Yeah. But that's like a reason for me to say like it's never going to be my favorite of the Star Wars stuff.
I think I agree. I think it's innovating by existing, and that's it. Like by being the first one that's almost like the Daredevil show, where you're like, the first one was so good that it paved the way for all the other ones. But in reality, it's not the most amazing story about Daredevil or the most... Like, it's not better than Daredevil Season 3 or even maybe Jessica Jones Season 1. But by being kind of standard in a different setting, I think it is interesting enough to be worth its time. But no, I think
agree.
I think in 5 years it won't be the best one.
Oh, best one? Like
the best show. I think they'll have made a show that's better.
Yeah. I think we only care about this because it's Star Wars. Like, I don't think if this wasn't Star Wars, we wouldn't care as much.
That's like a more extreme form of what I was saying, basically.
I don't think it would have the money if it wasn't Star Wars. So I think the money is a big part of it. I think it feels, and when I said movie, I feel like it does, except for a certain space battle, it feels kind of movie quality, which really helps it stand out. I don't know. Do you not think this is tricky? Would it still have a cute little baby that's cuter than all the other babies? Because that's specific to the
I
alien
feel like
race
both
that they
words
chose.
of the name Baby Yoda are important.
Yeah, I do too.
Do you know what the actual toy name of that is?
Yeah, it's the child. I have a pop socket of it. I bought it, DJ. Yeah. I'll buy as much child stuff as I can get my filthy little hands on. Problem is, all the T-shirts are bad. I'm gonna have all the bullshit. I'll have the Funko that looks like an old lady Yoda. Like, I'll have all that shit.
The Geeky Tiki.
Yes, I will have that. I will have. I mean, they have a doll that's coming out that actually looks pretty good. That's like, I think it's like $30 and it looks about right. I'm going to buy the Black Series figure for sure. If I'm buying the Black Series Krennic figure, I'm buying the Black Series Baby Yoda figure.
You know how all this Baby Yoda stuff is like only coming out like pretty late? Do you think they were trying to save the spoiler, or did some incredibly stupid executive be like, people aren't going to be that into the Baby Yoda?
Yeah.
They saved
the spoiler because the same thing happened with Baby Groot. They knew it was going to be big, but if they had made it a toy, it would have leaked because toys have to be produced in such a large scale and so far ahead of time that there's no way it would have stayed a secret. I've heard this specifically about Baby Groot, but there's no way they didn't do the same thing with Baby Yoda. Which is, I mean, listen, do you remember the first time you saw it? It blows your mind. Like,
oh, yeah.
It was such a big moment for me in terms of like, because you saw the whole first episode. And I agree, it does feel not like standard, but it's like, yeah, you know, he shoots guys and he goes to things, and he shoots more guys. And there's a robot with a silly little voice, but, you know, whatever. That was kind of what I was expecting. And then you see the Baby Yoda and you're like, whoa, this is a whole different thing.
I agree. It's a pretty big game changer.
Yeah, if there was no Baby Yoda, there's no way this would have any staying power whatsoever. But I think it's enough of a story point that this guy cares so much about the Baby Yoda because it is cute and a Baby Yoda that I don't even think it's like cheating.
I mean,
so
we all love the Baby Yoda. We would all die for the Baby Yoda.
I would burn Groot to death to keep the Baby Yoda warm, which is a tweet I'm reading. I've read, so I want no credit for that. But like,
credit the person who tweeted it.
Fuck if I know. I don't
Thanks,
know.
Obama.
It was Obama. He's a really funny guy. He's a good tweeter.
Malia?
It was Malala. Yeah, this is Obama and Malala had a really funny Baby Yoda thread going. They also just finished some cat stuff. Very funny. Go check out @Malala. I'm assuming she's got to have @Malala, right?
I hope
not
she
a lot
has
of Malalas
Malala
running around. Yeah. But yeah. All right, say other bad things about Baby Yoda.
I would never say anything bad
Good,
about Baby Yoda.
I dare you. This is an odd name. At Zippy by Day.
Never.
Say bad things about Baby Yoda. Okay, cool. What about the show? Do you think it has potential to keep going? Or do you think at the end of season 2
That's
it'll kind of
my
be like
question.
I am
Because
having
I
a
could
hard
see that.
time imagining an ending to this season that isn't The Mandalorian fucking dead.
Yeah, I agree. But wouldn't that be great? Like, what if they were lying about season 2 and they just did one season, killed the Mandalorian, goodbye?
Well, that's the beautiful thing about the Mandalorian. Just up next, right?
Right.
Just who's on deck?
The big one
Get
with
the
the
next
gun that we all
Mandalorian.
like so much. The one that's Jon
Yeah.
Favreau's voice. Maybe this is all him setting up a Mandalorian
God.
he can be.
For
Season
him.
2, yeah. You all love the Mandalorian with the baby, right? What if one had a Gatling gun and could fly?
How many people do you think see The Mandalorian with the Baby Yoda and just think that's what Mandalorians look like?
Yes, I think so too. No, I think that's accurate. I hear many people think a Mandalorian is a Baby Yoda. There's probably plenty of people that haven't seen The Mandalorian but know what Baby Yoda is and just kind of assume it's the same thing.
I mean people in universe, like who meet the Mandalorian and the Baby Yoda and are just like, oh, so it's his kid, so like that's what Mandalorians look like, right?
Yeah. Well, maybe we don't know it's not, you know? We haven't seen it. I mean, his ears would be a mess underneath that helmet, but besides that, like, could be. I mean, he'd be a very tall Baby Yoda.
Presumably he would be an adult
yeah,
Yoda.
I guess. Who knows what the deal is with Yodas? Do you think all of Disney's Plus's successes, not all, but I think they could put a huge amount to someone just in a meeting one day saying, Baby Yoda?
So someone had written baby on like one part of the whiteboard and then a bunch of other words between them, and someone had written Yoda on the other part, and just like one executive at the back of the room was like leaning back and went, wait a minute, and just like drew a line between Baby and Yoda, and everyone applauded.
Yeah, I think you could do that. I think here's what I think might have happened. I think someone drew a picture of Yoda, but they didn't draw the eyes yet, and the eyes were still black, and they went, hold on a second. That Yoda looks like a baby. That's the one we want. Because that's all. It looks like Yoda, except for with big old black eyes. And that's all you need.
And smaller, and
Oh,
does
yeah,
weird things like eat frogs and drinks tea and,
and
know,
plays
shit
with the
like that.
thing. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
DJ, haven't seen it, so earmuff it. Also, everybody on the podcast, earmuff it.
I gotta earmuff
Yeah,
it?
earmuff
Oh,
it.
my
Diggins,
God.
how great
All
was
right.
that thing that happens in the beginning of episode 7? That you're like, oh, Baby Yoda, you little tramp.
What,
You know what I'm
with the
talking
ship?
about? Yeah, I love that. That was so funny. I was like, oh, my God. And then it's Baby Yoda, and you're like, oh, man. This guy, you just can't
this
stop
little
him.
rascal.
Yeah, I loved it. All right, DJ, you can un-earmuff it. Good. Otherwise, it would have proven that the earmuffing didn't work. So, Diggins, what do you want from Star Wars in the future? Besides a bad movie that you're going to
God
hate.
damn it.
Besides that, what else do you want?
Well, I think regardless of what I want, that one's coming.
That's what you're going to get, yeah. What else do you want?
I've said this a couple times now. I want them to take a break from making big movies. Like, maybe make a movie, but not like a big, like, oh, it's this character you love, or it's a new, like, main line, this is where the story's going kind of movie. I just want them to sit back, make a bunch of weird bullshit, like The Mandalorian, and just focus on that for a while.
Can I come back yet?
Yeah, you can come back. Where I asked Diggins what does he want from a future Star Wars thing, so you can go ahead.
Anything? Okay,
Like,
cool.
I don't know
just like the
what
future
that
of Star
is.
Wars.
Maybe it's like a Sopranos style drama about the Hutts.
Oh, yeah, that could be fun.
Maybe
For
it's
sure.
like the gritty world of pod racing, and like we follow Sebulba and the rise of his career. When he's a young hotshot before
Yes.
he becomes jaded and corrupted by.
Can't tell if you're joking.
These are.
I mean, like, you're one level off joking. Like, I think you take one bit off of that, and it's like, yeah, pod racing sport movie about a badass pod racer. I'd watch that.
But this is just like the caliber
cool.
of thing I want. I want weird thing about random corner of the Star Wars universe. I don't want any more main stories for a while.
Agreed. What about you, DJ?
I know it's like it's very specific. It's very derivative of The Mandalorian. But one of my favorite Star Wars games was Star
It's a
Wars
good
Bounty
game.
Hunter.
I love
Such a
Star
good
Wars
game.
Bounty Hunter for the GameCube. Yeah.
Yep, I always wanted that to be a movie because I thought the story was probably one of the best Star Wars video game stories ever conceived.
Yeah, it had that impossible level
so
with
much.
that evil villain lady.
Oh my god, it was so impossible.
I've never beaten the game. I watched the cutscene at the end on YouTube. I hear it's fun.
Oh wow,
yeah. I've gotten all the way to the end
fun.
and then never beaten it.
But yeah, I would. I know it's very specific and not broad like what Diggins was giving, but it is something that I want. So
I'm with you. I wouldn't mind a flat out comedy. I would like to see. Like
it's called The Last Jedi.
Oh boy, it's called something maybe in the future you might see someday. I don't know. No, I'm kidding. I think
as am I, obviously.
I'd like to see. I don't know, because what we're getting, the only things that are confirmed: Mandalorian season 2, Cassian Andor, and K2SO, which could be a comedy. You know what I'd like to see? I'd love to see a show that's just droids, some sort of explanation or exploration of the world of droids. Could be interesting to me.
I'd watch that.
Because I like all the droid designs. I like the one that's in episode. For a second, I was like, episode. No, that's what the movies are called. What's a TV show called? Episode. Nope, that's the movies again. I like the one that's in episode 6 of The Mandalorian. The one, I think we've seen most of the designs before, but I just like the idea that there is a semi-sentient, at least, race of things, and they're all different, and some of them are little, like, trash cans that run around, and some of them are people, and some of them are big, giant machines, and they all just are. Like, there's no... We've never checked on them. The closest we got was Solo, and it was a character who didn't seem to even really know what that character thought about them, even though it's one of the best writers out there right now. They just gave her absolute nonsense to say.
I want to know.
I think you could.
I want to know if the gunk droid fucks.
Yes,
I knew it.
But what do you do?
You should have done the jacking it joke.
No, I did it 3 times. That's dead now.
I want a droid rebellion. I want the droids to stand up for themselves and take over a planet. And, like, what if there's a guy, like, not like Terminator, but kind of Terminator. Like, what if you have a movie or a show where one guy has to go to the planet of evil droids and kill one of them? And it's like, wait, maybe the droids aren't as bad as we thought. I don't know. But I also want a comedy. I'd also like the, what's the names of those 2 stormtroopers that suck? You know what I'm talking about? They're a famous pair of stormtroopers.
You're thinking of Biggs and Wedge, who are not
dorks?
stormtroopers?
Yes. No. It's the 2 stormtroopers that are the cause of all the problems in the universe. I forget their names. This is not. I mean, Biggs and Wedge. Would I ever call them bad? No, it's called Tag and Bink. So this is like kind of a. I think it was originally
I think that's a non-canon comic.
Yes, but some version of that. I'll take dorky something. And I think Stormtroopers is probably a little too heavy. And I don't think you could do, like, the diner with the guy with 4 arms.
I want Death Star Office comedy.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Oh, that would be great.
I mean, what's the lowest stakes part of the Star Wars universe? Because I want that.
It's like maintenance guy on Death Star. I think
I don't know. That was
like
the main character, one of these, right? Janitor. Finn or something.
Oh, that's true. SNL did a undercover boss thing with Kylo Ren that I always found charming.
That was funny.
And,
Except
funny.
They wanted to turn him into a nerd. Do you remember what they called him?
What?
Matt could go fuck himself. That's what they called him. He was Matt the nerd. No, thank you. But yeah, I'm trying to think. Like, what's a God? Like, could you be? You know what I want? This is what I want. Oh my God, Disney. I don't think the technology, if it exists. Turn on the podcast right now because I invoked the name of Disney 3 times. Disney. Here's what I want. I want a workplace comedy set at the funniest place in Star Wars, the Tashi Station. Let's go to the Tashi Station. Let's see what it's all about. You know, how do they sell power converters? What happens on Tatooine? That's fun. That's all I want. That or the Rick and Morty of Star Wars. Just 2 dorks going from planet to planet.
We're just picking pop culture things,
that's
but
what
with
the
Star
Mandalorian
Wars.
is.
Joker of Star Wars. Exactly.
All right, so...
it's a subgenre. How about a Star Wars horror movie? That could be fun.
Sure.
Like, and that's what. You haven't read Vader Down? Have you, DJ?
I have not, but I'm aware.
Did
of
I
it.
loan that to you? It might be part of that stack of comics I gave you that one day.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, ruh-roh.
I mean, it's fine. I didn't say read all these by Wednesday or you're fired.
But you are fired.
Vader Down is just what if a bunch of guys were trapped on a planet with a Darth Vader whose ship crashed, and how much would he kill all of them? It's like, that could be fun.
A lot.
Yeah.
They would kill him a lot.
Normal guys trying to fight a Jedi. That's fun. or a Sith. All great ideas, but yeah, no, tagging.
All I
Big
see
for
is
sure.
dead men in fear.
Exactly, it's the best. One of my favorite Star Wars lines. DJ Diggins, this was great.
It's going to be less than 3 hours. When
I don't know how.
Yes,
Yes, I took so many bathroom breaks before even
Listeners,
the one I'm about to take right now.
Oh,
tweet at Nando to see if you can guess when the bathroom breaks were.
Yeah. Listen.
Oh yeah, that'd be a fun game.
Tweet at me at Nando V Movies. Give me the minute marks, and I will ignore them. But I will tweet you back some fun GIF of Baby Yoda.
That sounds like
How about
everybody wins.
that? That's all you get. Exactly. Like, it just is an insanely good decision. Just Baby Yoda.
Well, I told you they tried
everything.
Baby Jabba the Hutt, and that didn't work. So it
Right.
got them off the baby train for a little while. But then they came back, and this time they nailed it.
Do you think there was a focus group where people had little dials and it was like, Baby General Grievous? Nope. Baby Admiral Akbar? Nope. Baby Yoda? Nope. Wait a second. And then, like, the machines all exploded, like sparks were flying from all of their little knobs that all of the people at the focus groups had. Like, it's just the greatest thing in the world. I'm so happy.
Hyperbole. Anyway,
No, thank you.
Like
Yes.
it's really the greatest.
Baby
thing
Yoda is the best thing
mean,
that's ever happened to us.
Yes, it is.
Oh.
I mean, what do you think is better than Baby Yoda? Give me something purer and nicer than Baby Yoda. He wants to eat the little thing that you use to steer the ship. He's going to press the buttons. He'll kill a big rhino if it's convenient for him.
So anyway, podcast.
All right.
Thanks everyone for listening,
Well,
everybody.
we got to do the
classic
recommendations,
segment.
DJ.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not saying we're done.
Not our classic
I
segment.
just need to thank everyone now. They've all logged off or
No.
logged off. They've all stopped
DJ,
listening.
if there's anything we've learned from the last 6 years, maybe, people love arguing about Star Wars. It's the thing
That's
that
a
the
great
internet was
point.
built for.
Loyal listeners,
So here-
you should know that maybe DJ doesn't believe in you, doesn't have any respect for you and your dedication to the brand, but I
Yes.
do. I know you made it to this point. And if you made it to this point, then tweet at Zippy by Day and let him know that you're disappointed that he has
Yes.
no faith in you.
Yeah, tell them.
And if you
tell you how bad I am.
if you do
please.
that and you tag me in it, 2 Baby
Deal.
Yoda gifts for
That's
you.
that's a deal.
I'm going to really have to stretch to find gifts of a character that's been on screen for about 20 minutes. But I'll find them.
If 4 people do it, I'll change my Twitter name to I Hate Baby Yoda just to see how much internet
Oh
hate
my
I get.
god, DJ. Oh my god. I know they usually don't suspend people for being actively harmful on Twitter, but I think Jack will make an
That'll-
exception. Yeah.
Yeah, at Jack will be like, "How dare you, Baby Yoda's precious."
Yeah. No, thank you. And he'll call Mark Zuckerberg and whoever the hell owns LinkedIn, and you'll be banned from all social networks from all eternity. I guess LinkedIn is probably owned by Bill Gates.
And Venmo?
I was going to say, Vero is all you got. You and Zack Snyder. You better get some drawings of the Snyder Cut ready. What would it look like if Superman punched Batman into the sun? That's probably in there. We're going to get that someday. And no
I hope
episode of
so,
ours is
man.
going to get more listens than the Snyder Cut.
Oh my god.
Besides,
You're right.
besides the one that's coming next week, I guarantee you. Next week's episode is going to be like, it's going to be the Baby Yoda podcast episode.
You heard it here first.
Honestly, like, I'm so happy just thinking about it because every time I think of something that was weird about it or like bad, I'm like, oh, that, yes, that's right. He walked by that. That was amazing. Oh my God, it's so stupid. Listen, make your own decisions, everybody, but I'm not a fan. All right, guys, what do you got to recommend to the fine people? DJ, got anything cool?
I got a very short rec. It's a video game I started playing called The Outer Worlds.
Oh, is that any good? You like it?
I think it's phenomenal. It is RPG style game, skill trees. You do what I do, dump all your points into Persuade and barely fire your gun. But basically, if you liked Fallout New Vegas, you'll like this game. Same developer. It's basically a space western is the whole thing in this game. The character interactions are a lot of fun. The choices you're given are interesting. I just think it's an all-around good game. So I don't have a lot to say about it, but it's good. If you like Fallout, if you like Skyrim, but in space, you'll like this game. There's a lot of customization and there's a lot of cool stuff you could do. But I would say it calls on a lot of like New Vegas stuff, especially with like how the world looks. Like there's like corporations are vying for each other, and you're kind of caught in the middle, and you're not sure who to trust. So yeah, really good game from those aspects. So yeah, The Outer Worlds. It's on Xbox Game Pass. If you got Xbox Game Pass,
Ooh.
I don't know anyone with Xbox Game Pass. Outer Worlds. That's my rec.
Cool. I want to wreck the Watchmen show. I finished it. This was the last episode. Was this last week? It is and I try not to use this word too much, masterpiece.
Damn.
It is as good as the Watchmen book. Like it's crazy that it's any good at all, and even borderline coherent, because it's a Watchmen sequel. But I just can't imagine a version of that that is both. It's fun. It's interesting. It calls on all of the themes, but it builds very nicely on Watchmen, right? Like, it doesn't ignore it and say, what if we built a world kind of close to Watchmen, but we really built a different show and we wanted to market it. Kind of like, almost some people say the Joker is like, he wanted to make this movie and he slapped the Joker on it at the last minute to get it sold. It really, David Lindelof has a reverence for Watchmen, but it's not just a rehash. It's new themes. It's all about race, and about, like, race is a big part of it. History, things that Watchmen, the book, didn't really touch on. Performances are all amazing. Obviously, Regina King, right? That's the name of the actress who plays Angela. I think that's right. Right? Yeah. She is great, but I've always loved Ozymandias as a character. I think he's really fun. And Jeremy Irons is doing the Lord's work, man. He is so great. And I know what you're thinking. If you start watching it, and this is what I'll say to anybody who watches it, I think I've already given it a glowing recommendation, but you'll start it and you'll be like, is this going anywhere? Everything is going somewhere, especially him. Because he's the thing that even 5 episodes in, you're like, but is he, like, part of it? There's a part of me that almost thought, people that are familiar with Watchmen, he was kind of the Dawn Treader, like an allegory that exists separately from the rest of the story. And by the end, you're like, oh, I get it. This was an endless pursuit of whatever. It's not. It's all, not only is it all tied together, his very confusing plot line ties up very nicely. The one thing I'll say is read the book. It's a good book, and it will give you a good, primer. And there's some concepts that come up that I think if I didn't know what happened in the book in the first episode or second episode, I'd be like, what's that thing about? And if you read the book, you're like, oh yeah, right, that's part of this, and that's part of this thing's planned for this. But if you haven't read the book and you don't want to, it will be explained eventually. There's enough points later in the show where they really will give gigantic exposition dumps in a very natural way. So like my mom, who watched it and loved it, has never read the book, although I got her a copy recently. But, you stick with it. It's worth it. It's great. It's all on HBO, obviously. And I hope they do not do a second season, because it should be its own.
Really?
Yeah, it should be its own beautiful thing that exists together. It's a complete story. I don't care where the world goes from there. And they could only do worse. Like, I think there should be a thing. And I the same way I think episodic storytelling is in a lot of ways a lot more satisfying than like binging. I think the idea of everybody wants a sequel for everything is a mistake. I think we should recognize that some things really do stand on their own, right? I think but I think there should be things almost like Knives Out, where we should recognize what's special about the thing, and then either take the creative team and just really market them, or take one character and bring them to the next things. Like, I've heard a lot of people say, "Oh, the Inspector gets another movie," and I think he is in Knives Out, Daniel Craig's character. But I like the idea that this Damon Lindelof, the guy that made Leftovers and Lost, although, partially, because obviously JJ was part of it. I wish Watchmen really threw his name out there like Christopher Nolan projects do, so that every time he had a thing, that would be a Damon Lindelof thing, and we'd all be really excited about it, as opposed to forcing it to be a Watchmen thing, because that's what the brand is. Because, yeah, they told a really complete story. I sure they could come up with something cool, but don't bother. All the sequels in the comics to Watchmen have been disappointing messes, so it's not worth it. But yeah, so I'd say watch that. Spend your time. It's worth every second. Besides that, no new comics. I hear the new Suicide Squad is fun. I bought it, haven't read it. By is it Tom Taylor? It might be Tom Taylor. Whoever it is, it's a guy, and it was fun because he got to make a lot of new characters. So it's not like your normal Suicide Squad where it's like a mashup of existing villains. So it probably has a new flavor, but besides that, haven't really Watched a lot of stuff. We watched the Jeff Goldblum thing, DJ. I think I've wrecked that already, but can you co-sign? It's fun.
Yes, it is fun. Yeah. Co-signed by me.
Nice little background show if you're like doing, cooking dinner or something. Yeah, that's my stuff though. Really, Watchmen. I've recommended it in a couple of my videos. Like it really is terrific. What do you got, Diggins? Anything to rec?
Yeah, I just have 12 quick recs to go through right here.
Very smart. That's how you really take, like, it's a power move. It's almost like a testosterone gel you rub on your body. It's just a way to show the world.
That's rec number 5.
Ah, okay, cool. I could tell. I could smell it on you through the microphone. I was like, there's something different about Diggins today. His tea is high. He's got high tea. I swear it's a real thing. I think Colbert used to do bits about it. That's why I'm so familiar with it. I'm gonna find it.
No, I'm just gonna. I saw a movie about a couple weeks ago now. I think an indie movie that I think is not seeing a wide release until next year, but it was playing at some small theaters here in New York City. So it's called
Uncut Gem.
Spider-Man.
It's called Portrait of a Lady on Fire.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I thought you were setting us up for
Parasite or...
No, I thought he was setting us up for like Jumanji 2 or something,
That would have been funny.
Low-key movie starring all the biggest movie stars. But yeah. I've heard of this. I don't know very much about it. What's the pitch for it?
So, Portrait of a Lady on Fire is a story of, I think it's like 17th century or maybe 18th century French women.
Love it.
Though the one is like the daughter of a noblewoman, and she wants to marry her daughter off, but to do so, she needs to get a portrait painted of her to send to the suitor so he can be like, yes, this is beautiful enough for me.
Interesting. Is that like a normal thing?
Yeah, that was a thing.
Yeah.
But the daughter won't sit for a painting, so she hires another woman to be like her companion for walks, essentially, which is also like a thing, like essentially her handmaiden. Mm-hmm. But really what she's doing is observing her so that she can paint a portrait of her. But then they end up falling in love.
That sounds a lot like that movie, The Handmaiden.
It's actually extremely different.
Oh, man. No, thank you.
It's very, very different.
That's all I want right now is more Handmaidens.
The Handmaiden's a fantastic movie.
It's brilliant.
Portrait of a Lady on Fire is also a really great movie, but it's a very, very different one. It's very sweet, very romantic. Obviously, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that lesbian romance set in the 18th century is ending super well for anyone involved. But up until that point, it's just it's just so romantic and sweet, and I had a good time watching it. And if you get a chance, I would definitely check it out.
Cool. Yeah, I've heard of it, but that's all I've heard is the title of it, and I'm sure it's good. But yeah, that's cool. Speaking of that, real quick, I saw Cats. It's amazing. It'll blow your mind. It'll melt your brain. Everyone should go see it.
I cannot wait.
We're gonna wreck it, or we're gonna do an episode on it after next week when we do Star Wars: The Big Disappointment. I mean, the what's it called? The Rise of Disappointment. Rise of Skywalker. Yeah. Retcon of Skywalker. Nope, sorry, Rise of Skywalker. We're gonna do Cats, the movie musical. And listen, obviously, don't take it seriously unless you love that musical, and I hate it. But do whatever you have to do to bring people to it that don't know about it at all. Pretend it's some other movie and just sit them down, and then they see it, and it's Cats. Like, I don't think there's that many people unaware of how weird it is and, like, that didn't see all the memes going around, but that nothing would make me happier than someone just seeing it for the first time and having to soak it all in, because it's a tidal wave of just sad and, like, crazy. Not even sad, because you'll have a great time. No, go see it. All right, next week.
So speaking of, I wanted to say, so here's our release schedule, guys, coming up, because holidays and stuff. So this pod you're probably listening to on like Monday or maybe earlier, like Saturday or Sunday.
Yeah, maybe earlier.
Merry Christmas.
We should put it out as quickly as possible so we see it. People see it. Like, let's do it before they see the Star Wars movie.
Friday. We'll have it out Friday.
Yeah, if possible.
Damn. All right.
No stress.
Yeah, it's fine.
Sorry, it doesn't have to be Friday, but I doubt. I'm sure a lot of people are seeing it Thursday night, so it's either Thursday night people or regular weekend people. So nothing we can do for you Thursday nighters.
Yeah. So then we'll be recording our episode 9 podcast next Thursday or Friday, so we'll probably be out Saturday or Sunday, so about a week after release. And then Cats will be recorded like the week after that. So then maybe the following week, sometime after the new year, you'll have Cats. So that's what we're looking like in the near future.
You're so lucky, guys. You're going to have a blast. I would
Merry Christmas.
The one thing I'd say about Cats before we do the episode, if you don't want to go watch it, listen to a couple of the songs. Get a sense for how repetitive they are. Because it's really hard for me to stress how much lyrics of it are just the word Jellicle Cats 50 times in a row. And like
you have you have no idea how excited I am for this movie.
Your eyes can only take so much of it, right? Like eventually your brain is just like, stop looking at this. So all you will hear as your vision breaks down is just the word Jellicle Cat. Oh, Jellicle Cat is a Jellicle Cat, Jellicle Cat. It will kill you.
Oh my god!
There's a whole song that's just the words McCavity, 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 McCavity.
Is that Idris Elba's strip song?
Yes, that's the song. By the end of that song, he is in full like not wearing a coat mode, which is strip mode for him. It's awesome.
Oh, this is exciting! I cannot wait.
We're gonna use digital fur technology on the podcast somehow. You guys are gonna know. What if they release that to the world? What if they were like, by the way, this is the program we use to make digital fur technology go crazy, everybody? That would be awesome.
Be a better world.
It really would.
I guess.
We could digital fur other movies. We're going to digital fur, The English Patient. And just add it. That'd be amazing. I know it's stupid, and I know we're like, 3 hours into this podcast, but just thinking about Cats makes me so jazzed.
I get it.
I'll talk about it to whoever I see. People at the coffee shop, therapists, like, just go see it. It's amazing. That's all I got, though. Star Wars, man. Big week for us. And Merry Christmas to everybody that celebrates the holiday, because you won't hear from us. The new podcast will be after that, yeah. And Hanukkah. I think Hanukkah's, like, about now. Am I correct?
And then we'll get Kwanzaa, too. So, yeah. Also that.
And Life Day is coming up.
That's true.
Yeah. So get your robes
get the
and your balls of light.
Somebody get the ceremonial cocaine for the singer.
And something about your dad jacking off at the corner. Okay.
Yes. This is great. This is so much fun.
We're done.
I'm so happy
Thank you
came
everyone
back,
for
Diggins.
hanging.
The people have been asking.
I'm so happy to be back.
The podcasters,
Yeah,
so many times I've gotten tweets. Where's Diggins?
And guys, he's coming back for episode 9. So.
He might not.
Oh, you spoiled
He might
the
see it and
surprise.
never want to talk about it again.
That's
true.
true. I might see it and like go for a long walk in a forest and never return.
Yeah, it might be like that sentence that you can whisper to people in the Twilight Zone that drives them crazy. I forget exactly what the sentence is. It's probably like they're going to remake this in 20 years and the podcast or the thing on the wing of a plane is a podcast. But whatever it is, one of the episodes of the Twilight Zone, the classic one, is a town where if you whisper a sentence in your ear, it goes crazy. I think that might be it.
All right. Well, then we'll see if Diggins decides to come next week.
Yeah.
Or if any of us. Maybe we'll Nando made it through, so.
Yes.
So it might
Cats
just
will
be Nando
counteract
talking to
it.
himself.
Cats is the drug you take to even out the Star Wars in your life. So
But
plan
I'm
a
seeing
double
Cats
feature.
first.
Oh, no, that's the mistake.
Maybe that'll
Diggins.
inoculate you, know?
Possibly.
We'll
see.
Yeah, we'll find out.
I'll be a changed man afterwards.
Yes. Text me, call me. I don't care what I'm doing. I will pick up the phone and talk to you about Cats.
Nice.
Besides that, guys, it's been terrific. I am at Nando V Movies on Twitter.
I'm at Zippy by Day.
I'm at This Is an Odd Name.
Thank you all so
Goodbye,
much.
everybody. Goodbye.
Bye. We love you.
Woo!